The Radiance of Pokémon wisdom. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26. First meeting with Zyarksha. What kind of Pokémon is this? How come I have never seen it before? Kajiro said in surprise as he looked at the flying Phoenix King in the sky. Stupid Kajiro, you just don't learn. You can tell it's a shiny toucan at a glance. Boss, am I right? Meow Meow said proudly. Shiny toucan? Zahu couldn't help but burst out laughing, looking at Meow Meow strangely. Meow Meow, Meow Meow. Although you are right, this short bird is really ugly and has nothing to do with the phoenix. It's a waste of the word, but you dare to say it so directly. Aren't you afraid that people will give you a sacred fire? That is the guardian god of Johto, in charge of the communication between the sky and the atmosphere. It can be said that he is a god. Huh, isn't it? Meow Meow said sharply. This is a first-class divine beast, the Ho-Oh. If we compare the value, it would take about 10,000 shining toucans to compare with the Ho-Oh, Zahu said with a smile. Even though the toucans are shining, they are rare, and there are precedents of them being captured. However, the Ho-Oh is a god worshipped in the Johto region. They are only worshipped, not captured. 10,000 shining toucans, how much would that be? What if we capture the Ho-Oh? As a cat, Meow Meow's brain circuit is obviously different from that of normal people. Others at this time are either amazed at the power and rarity of the Ho-Oh, or feel ashamed of their previous mistakes, but he thinks of the golden money. Oh, right, capture? Kajiro looked excited. Papa, while the two guys were still intoxicated, Zahu slapped them on the head and scolded them angrily. Can you two have some brains? Do you know what a mythical beast is? Even if all my Pokémon are added together, they can't beat the Phoenix King, you know? You two want to try what it means to fly, right? If so, I will let you two fly to the sky now, shoulder to shoulder with the Sunday. Is it so powerful? Forget it. Meow Meow and Kajiro shrank their necks, not wanting to offend, and finally watched the Phoenix King fly away. Okay, let's go. Go into the city quickly and find a place to eat. Zahu looked at the clear video and said with satisfaction. Eat is good. Let's go. Meow. Meow Meow said excitedly. Just now he looked weak, but now he ran very fast. Eat. Kajiro also dropped the camera, and his legs were like motors, chasing Meow Meow. Zahu rolled his eyes. You two have cleaner pockets than your face, and the money is all here. Why are you running so fast? Is it useful? Do you have money? Kajiro and Meow Meow, who were running very fast in front, realized that they had no money halfway through their run. Finally, they stared at each other and walked back in 2 or 3 steps. Finally, after a lot of noise, they arrived at a restaurant late at night and had a big meal. Then, Zahu looked at the two people and said, you two are running very fast. Do you want to show that you are superhuman? If you have the ability, don't eat or spend money. No, we want to help you, the boss, see what delicious food is ahead in advance, and then come back to report to you. Now we know where to go. Meow Meow said. Yes, even if I want to show that I'm superhuman, I will carry things and walk. Why would I run by myself? Kajiro said. Carrying something? Meow Meow suddenly saw someone next to him carrying something that looked like charcoal, walking step by step, and then said, right, if you want to exercise your body, you should do the same as the person next to you. Exercise yourself. Exercise? Zahu also moved his eyes over and saw a girl with short orange hair on the street, carrying something that looked like a bicycle, walking forward step by step, with only 5 words in his mind. Superhuman. The heroine of the original Pokémon, and the heroine who accompanied Zyarksha on his journey for the longest time, traveled with the dream of becoming the world's strongest water Pokémon trainer. Later, because her sisters were really incompetent, she was forced to go home to become a gym leader, and ended her journey with Zyarksha. Compared with the heroine who mainly played the role of a coordinator and performer in the later period, this most normal trainer was a little abnormal. As for the charcoal-like thing in her hand, it goes without saying that it was naturally the work of Bicycle Destroyer Pikachu. One bicycle, one heroine. Okay, finish eating and go to the Pokémon Center. Zahu said. Why go to the Pokémon Center? That's where trainers who have just started traveling can stay before they are 15 years old. We are not 15 years old yet, so we have to pay. We all have to pay. We might as well stay in a hotel. Zyajiro said. Go to see Zyozzy and report that he is safe. Zahu said helplessly. Although he knew that this guy must be fine, he still went to see him. When he arrived in Nibe City, he would let Zyozzy come alone with Zaya gang. Otherwise, if he was fine, his mother would be worried to death. Zyozzy, he is here too? He didn't get lost? Incredible. Zyajiro was surprised. Because he had been staying in Pallet Town for these years, he and Zyozzy and Zyomeo were very familiar with each other. Fools have good luck. Zahu shook his head and didn't say anything else. It was to save Zyozzy's last bit of face. On the first day of going out, he was chased by a group of Spearows and almost died before he could accomplish his mission. The stomachs of Meow Meow and Kajero are both connected to another dimension. Although they are already 8/10 full, they still seriously implement the clean plate policy when it comes to food. The bowls they have eaten from are cleaner than their faces. Seeing this, Zahu was really surprised. Is the inertia of the plot really that big? It was normal for these two people to eat like this in the original drama, but since they followed him, although they can't be said to have big fish and meat every day, their quality of life is definitely not bad. Eating like this makes me feel like I'm abusing them. In the end, the three of them carried their luggage and walked slowly to the Pokémon Center, as if they were taking a walk after dinner. They saw Zyozzy and Zyraksha both surrounding Pikachu with concern. It seemed that they had temporarily resolved the disagreement about the bicycle. Zyozzy and Zyraksha were concerned that Pikachu didn't notice Zahu, but Pikachu, as a Pokémon, was naturally observant and saw Zahu at once and cried excitedly. Zahu smiled, walked over, gently stroked Pikachu's two electric bags and said, "Long time no see, Pikachu." Yes, Zahu knew this Pikachu. As a student of Professor Oak, he even took care of this Pikachu for a long time. Pikachu cried happily. Although he was very tired today, he also thought it was quite interesting. He recognized Zyozzy, and at the same time, he met Zahu who had taken care of him before, which made him even happier. "Brother, you are here." Zyozzy saw Zahu was excited at first, and then remembered that he had hurt Pikachu, and then was successively accused by Zyraksha, Miss Junsha, and Miss Joy, and immediately lowered his head in embarrassment. "What's wrong? Are you unhappy to see me?" Zahu asked knowingly. "No, brother, it's because of me that Pikachu got hurt so badly. I'm an incompetent Pokémon trainer," Zyozzy said frustratedly. "When you said this, you have the potential to become a competent Pokémon trainer. As a novice, you have the right to make mistakes. Just remember, don't let Pikachu do this again in the future. Trainers in Pokémon are the best partners," Zahu said. "I know, brother, I will definitely not let Pikachu get hurt so badly in the future," Zyozzy said with a firm look. "That's good. When the Quartz conference starts, I hope you will be the one to compete with me in the finals," Zahu said. I will surpass my brother and become the world's #1 Pokémon trainer." Zyozzy clenched his fists hard and said with blood boiling, "Then give me my bicycle back first." Zyraksha, the king of cold water for thousands of years, spoke silently, and a basin of cold water directly extinguished Zyozzy's enthusiasm. Zyozzy suddenly became depressed and found a corner to draw circles. Chapter 27 Worried Zahu. "You are his brother, you should pay for it." Zyraksha stretched out her hand to Zahu. "Theoretically, it's possible. I can afford to pay for a bicycle, but Zyozzy said he wants to be an adult and won't take money from me, so he can only work to pay you back," Zahu said. "Ah, no way, brother, work to pay back the money? Brother, just help me," Zyozzy pleaded with a bitter face. "Don't even think about it. You have to solve the troubles you caused yourself." Zahu flicked Zyozzy's forehead and thought, "If I help you pay back the bicycle now, how can I accompany you to travel to 3 regions? It's a pity that I, as a brother, am still a single dog, and I have to arrange a future partner for my younger brother. It's enough." Let Zyozzy and Zyarksha deal with the trouble again. Zahu walked to the side and called Professor Oak first. Zahu, you've also arrived in Viridian City, but you're even slower than Zyozzy. As a brother, you can't be worse than your younger brother. Professor Oak appeared on the screen, exactly the same as before, wearing a research suit and eating instant noodles. When I came here, I shot a video about Ho-Oh. Zahu didn't bother to talk nonsense and directly stated his purpose. Ho-Oh. Professor Oak's expression was stunned, and then he didn't care about his excited face and instant noodles, and shouted excitedly, "Is it true? Do you have a video? Send it over quickly." Okay, wait a minute. Zahu used the machine to transmit the video. After a long time, the screen came with the joyful and excited voice of Professor Oak, shouting, "It's really the legendary Pokémon Ho-Oh, Zahu. This is a great discovery for you, especially in the Johto region. If they knew that Ho-Oh had appeared here in Kanto, they would definitely run over excitedly. You are from the lineage of Linglingta. This is also the reason why I came to find you, teacher. If I use this information to trade with them, can I exchange it for a more powerful ghost-type Pokémon?" Zahu said. "It's possible, but you're too cunning." Professor Oak scolded with a smile. "There's no way. Psychic and ghost-type Pokémon are rare and difficult to catch. The people of the Ringling Tower lineage are all specialized in breeding ghost-type Pokémon. For example, Zyana-song, the trainer of the Vermilion Gym, is a representative. The ghost-type Pokémon they breed are all first class. If nothing else, one ghastly will be enough," Zahu said. "Okay, I'll try for you. But you already have 6 Pokémon now. If you have more, you have to send them back." Professor Oak said. "No, teacher, don't forget, I'm also a doctor, and I have 3 Dr. Pokeballs that are specially treated by the League, so I can carry 9 Pokémon with me when I go out. In addition, I left Meowth's Pokeball at home, so it doesn't take up my quota," Zahu said. "That's right, you're also a doctor, so I can't fool you. I originally wanted to take a few Pokémon from you to study. Then you can capture more Pokémon and send them to me for study." Professor Oak said disappointedly. "It's difficult to capture more Pokémon. You know me. I have to be responsible after capturing one, so I won't capture too many. But I can send you some very interesting videos. In a while, I'll send you a video of Pippi dancing and praying around the moonstone. I should also write a paper on the fairy system, otherwise I won't be able to meet the target for this year's task," Zahu said. "Pippi dancing, okay, send it to me." Professor Oak smiled. "By the way, there is one more thing. Zenghu said that his research is about to reach a critical moment, and the mysterious Pokémon is about to come. I hope to go and help him then." "Mysterious Pokémon?" Zahu smiled. "Isn't that the mysterious Pokémon, the giant Dragonite, that the protagonist will definitely capture in most fanfictions? Like the giant onyx in the mountains, it is a high-frequency creature that the protagonist's pet. However, Zahu has no interest in it. It's not that he doesn't want it. In fact, even if it's not a giant Dragonite, but just a Dragonite, he would want it. But the problem is it's so easy to capture a Dragonite that is the same size as Groudon or even bigger? As we all know, in the Pokémon world, small Pokémon are not necessarily weak, but giant Pokémon are definitely not weak, especially this kind of supergiant, which is the level of mythical beast that can destroy the world. The super ancient Pokémon in the Kanto region, the super ancient Alakazam, the super ancient Jenga, the guardian of the Hone region, Kyogre, and Groudon who was bullied and couldn't fly, are all destructive. Although Zahu was curious, he didn't want to die. "Okay, teacher, I will go when the time comes." Zahu said a few words to Professor Oak and hung up the phone, then reported to Hanako that he was safe, and then called Kona. "Finally you are willing to call me. If Aunt Hanako hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that you had already gone out to travel." As soon as the screen was connected, Kona's complaints came to the front. "That's not because you think it's not particularly important. Sister Kona is busy with all kinds of things, and I dare not disturb you. Anyway, you know that I'm leaving." Zahu smiled indifferently. "You can't hit me through the screen, and I'm fearless. No matter how important things are, they are not as important as you." Kona rolled his eyes at Zahu in annoyance and said, "Have we arrived in Tokiwa City now? Don't challenge the Tokiwa gym. This gym is not simple. You can't beat it with your current strength. Don't worry, I don't plan to go. I know Sakake's identity. Zahu smiled. You know? That's good. Kona nodded and said, but your current Pokémon is a bit too strong. Although there are only 4 that can really fight, Ninetales, Snorlax, and Togekiss are almost at the level of the king. Fairy is not so good, but it is also an elite level main pet. Among so many gyms, except for the Red Lotus gym and the Crimson gym, they may not be able to force you to have a second Pokémon. You are going to destroy them. I don't want to either. Who made the Kanto gyms generally so weak? Sister Kona, you 4 kings don't care. Zahu said. We are mainly responsible for fighting and maintaining people's safety. The inspection of the gym is mainly the responsibility of the Joai family. They have scheduled it for the second half of the year, and I can't interfere. Kona said. Well, anyway, there are Zyabo and others fighting with me, so it's okay. Zahu said. Your strength is a bit wasteful to fight in the gym. You should travel by yourself for a while. I will find a place more suitable for you to test. As for participating in the Quartz conference, as long as you pass the Pokémon identification test, it will be fine. You, a doctor, can't even pass the Pokémon identification test? Kona said. That boring exam, although it has its meaning, the recent format is a bit nonsense, and it needs to be changed. Zahu said. You want to change this and that. Do you want to keep your sister busy? If you want to change, win the Quartz conference by yourself, and then the King Challenge, become the 4 Heavenly Kings or even the champion, and then you have the final say. Kona said unhappily. I'm just making a suggestion, fulfilling my duty as a Pokémon doctor. You don't have to adopt it. Zahu said weakly. Okay, you travel first. I'll make the contact for you, before you arrive in Hulan City. Don't walk too fast. If you dare to pass Hulan City before my next call, I will let you massage my Chenglang for a year. Kona said. Sister Kona, you obviously lost the bet. Okay. You owe me a condition, and you haven't fulfilled it yet. Zahu said dissatisfiedly. Who told you that you haven't thought it through in 5 years? Think it through, and say it, as soon as possible. Otherwise I will regret it. Okay, have a good trip. Sister is waiting for you to challenge the champion. Kona hung up the phone with a smile. Champion? Sister Kona, when I beat you, I will tell you what my requirements are. Zahu said with a smile. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Zio Gang. Finally we are in Nibe City. Zio he shouted excitedly towards Nibe City. Yeah, we are here. Zahu said nonchalantly. He was not a directionally challenged person, so he walked very quickly. Zio he also captured Caterpillar and Pidgeot just like in the original book, and then met the samurai boy. Although Zahu didn't want to abuse this little scum, he asked for it, so Zahu had no choice. Even Ninetales was useless, so he sent the weakest Meowth, who could only scratch wildly, and then he couldn't even beat Meowth. Zahu was too lazy to gain experience points, but of course it was not useless at all. At least it allowed Zyos his Metapod to evolve into Butterfree. And just like that, the 4 people and the cat came to Nibe City together. From now on, you and I are also competitors. Brother, I want to get the Nibe Gym badge before you. Zyos he said confidently. That's impossible. You have half the name of Zahu, but you don't have half the command skills or knowledge of Pokémon. The perennial cold-mouthed king, Misty, said again. What? Misty, although my brother is very powerful, I'm not bad either. Zyos he retorted. When you see Zio Gang, you'll know. With your current strength, you can't even get a gym badge. Zyos he continued to pour cold water. Just wait and see. I'll show you the Nabi gym badge this time. Zyos he said unconvinced. Looking at the 2 people bickering, Zahu smiled. Zyos he was born with hot blood. Even if he encountered a huge blow, he would often sleep and get better in a few days. So he was not afraid of Zyos being depressed, but afraid of Zyos being arrogant. Every time Zyos gets cocky, it's basically the beginning of Zyos being abused. In the original drama, in order to make Zyozzy face reality, every time he gets cocky, a superstar comes to teach him a lesson, but that doesn't always happen in reality, so it's important to have a companion who can educate him all the time. Several people walked into the Nabi gym, talking and laughing. As soon as the door was opened and the lights turned on, they saw a person sitting in the middle like meditating, looking straight ahead and saying, "Who is it? I'm Zyozzy from Pallet Town. I'm here to challenge you." Zyozzy shouted his classic and passionate slogan. "Is this your first time competing in a gym? Gym competitions are different from small battles on the roadside. It's a formal competition of the Pokémon League, and it has rules." The man said slowly. "It's a bit beyond my expectations." Zyozzy looked confused. "Isn't fighting just fighting? Is there a difference? You can only use 2 Pokémon, you know." The man knew at a glance that Zyozzy was a guy who knew nothing but was full of enthusiasm. Thinking of his duty as a gym trainer, he stood up and said, "How long have you been with that Pokémon?" "About 2 weeks. Zyozzy replied. "Then it's the cutest period." Pikachu, hearing the other party praising him, Pikachu showed a cute expression, but then suddenly heard another sentence, "Then don't compete." Immediately showed a look of absolute despair. "You don't need to worry about our affairs, you nosy woman." Zyozzy muttered dissatisfiedly. "There's no way. As a gym trainer, someone asked for a competition, I can't refuse." The man showed a helpless expression, then snapped his fingers coldly, and the gates around him opened, and the 2 sides of the field merged together to form a rock field. He is the gym leader of the Nabi gym, Zyozzy. He looks serious and powerful. Zyozzy should not be able to beat him. Zyozzy said. "Serious?" Zahu had a strange expression. That's right, the person in front of him was Zyozzy, who had followed Zyozzy for 3 parts, and traveled all over Kanto, Johto, Hone, and Sinnoh. Before the Unova region, there were even changing heroines, but Zyozzy was always the same. However, does Zyozzy have anything to do with the word serious? When Zahu thought of the man in the later period who rushed over to the mature big sister without thinking, and said, "My name is Zyozzy" at the first time, Zahu couldn't associate the word serious with him. Or, what did Zyozzy, who is so serious and cold now, experience to make his style collapse to the extent of the later period? Thinking of this, Zahu said to Zyozzy meaningfully, "Cherish the current Zyozzy. Later, you will know how precious the current Zyozzy is." "Ah. Cherish?" Zyozzy was confused. "What does this mean? Why don't I understand?" Just when Misty was confused, the match between Brock and Ash had already begun. Ash, of course, released Pikachu without thinking. No matter what the opponent's attributes were, he would release Pikachu at this time. Pikachu was also very proud when he didn't know what kind of enemy he was about to face. But when he saw Brock release Onix, a drop of cold sweat fell from his forehead. He immediately ran back in fear and quickly climbed behind Ash. He put his hand on the Pokeball with Pidgeot, intending to exchange himself. Unfortunately, this behavior was not recognized by the trainer. Ash decisively picked up Pikachu and said, "Don't act on your own. Hand over the baton to Pidgeot. Go quickly." Pikachu was forced to stand on the field again, and looked at his trainer for a while, as if he was thinking about whether to listen to the trainer's instructions to fight, or to directly stun the trainer and run away. Fortunately, a roar came at this time and saved him. "Ash, you idiot, why are you using Pikachu to fight Onix? Onix is a rock and ground type, and electric type is ineffective against ground type, you know? Hurry up and change to another Pokémon." When Zyozzy saw Zyozzy release Pikachu, she couldn't help but curse Pikachu. Pikachu made a happy cry, indicating that he was right. Ineffective? Why is it ineffective? As long as it hits, it should be effective. There is no such thing as absolutely ineffective in research. Brother, right? Zyozzy said. "That's right. In theory, as long as it hits, it will definitely have an effect. Except for ghosts that have no entity, immune to fighting, and flying in the sky and immune to the ground, the rest have attack power. The reason why electric type Pokémon are ineffective against ground type Pokémon is that ground type Pokémon are not conductive. They are different from ordinary Pokémon and humans in structure. When the current hits them, it is expelled before it hurts them. But in reality, electricity, as a kind of energy, will definitely mix with other energies. If it is strong enough, it will not only be electricity, but it will produce high temperature strong enough to directly roast Pokémon with high temperatures. So in fact, ground type Pokémon are only immune to about 99% of electric type damage, which does not mean that they are completely ineffective. Of course, under normal circumstances, it is approximately equivalent to ineffective, unless the level difference is sky high. One is a legendary beast and the other is just born. As an authority in this field, Zahu explained to everyone. I see. Zyraksha and Zyadagang also looked like they were being taught. Then what Pokémon should I change? Zyros asked. Whatever, they are all the same. You have to left, Butterfree and Pidgeot, both flying type Pokémon, and they are all restrained by rock type. Zahu said. Ah. Then I'm sure to lose? Zyros said desperately. In theory, yes. Zahu nodded. If you challenge the gym with these 3 types of Pokémon, unless the gym trainer is really bad, it will be impossible to pass. That's just theory. I believe that Pikachu, and I can definitely overcome this. Right, Pikachu. Zyros clenched his fist. Pikachu said pitifully. Chapter 29 Hooking up with Zyadagang. Pikachu vs. Onix, a novice trainer versus an experienced gym leader. Whether it was Pokémon or trainer, Zyros was crushed, so there was no need to look at the result of this game. It took only a minute, and Onix bound Pikachu with one move, and Pikachu lost. Are you disappointed? Zahu looked at Zyros and said. Brother. Zyros was embarrassed to face Zahu. If you don't want to fail like this again, remember all the knowledge about Pokémon. Don't forget such basic knowledge that ground can defeat electricity and rock can defeat flying. This is your first time, I can forgive you, but don't do it again in the future. Zahu said seriously. Over the years, he has taught Zyros these things, but Zyros can only remember in 3 minutes. He is busy taking care of various Pokémon and playing with them every day, and he has forgotten all the knowledge. The only thing worth praising about Zyros now is his passion and love for Pokémon. As for his strength, he can only say that he has potential at most. Now that Zyros has failed, he just took this opportunity to educate Zyros. I know, brother. Zyros said. Okay, Zyraksha, please help me teach these basic knowledge in the future. If Zyros behaves arrogantly or misbehaves, I will take responsibility for it if I slap him. Moreover, as long as it is right, I will pay you 1000 yuan for each slap until your bicycle is returned. Zahu said. Ah. Brother, is that true? Zyros said in horror. Brother Zahu, really? 1000 yuan for a slap? Zyraksha said excitedly. She could beat people for free and make money. Such a good thing could actually happen to her. Really, 1000 yuan for a slap? Zahu said. Okay, brother Zahu, I will definitely help you make Zyros familiar with various knowledge. Zyraksha said happily. Zyros held Pikachu and sat aside helplessly. He felt that his life was bleak. The next challenge is me. Why don't you take a break and compete with me again? Zahu ignored Zyros and said to Zyadagang. No need. It doesn't take much energy anyway. Zyadagang said casually, and Zyros felt even more pain in his heart. Okay, then I won't be polite. Ninetale, show yourself. Zahu released his Ninetale and said. Is this Ninetale? Why is it different from the ones here? Zyadagang asked curiously. Yes, but it's so beautiful. Zyraksha's eyes were full of love. Although she specialized in water type Pokémon, as a woman, she had no resistance to cute and beautiful Pokémon, just like her favorite Pokémon. TGP was not a water type, but it still couldn't shake its position in her heart. I know, this is the Alola Ninetale. Brother said that there are some Pokémon in the Alola region that are different from the ones here. Zyros came out of his lost state and popularized science for Zyraksha, and by the way, he showed that he was not so ignorant. The Ninetales from the Alola region. Brock suddenly realized and said in surprise, from the appearance, it seems to be an ice type Pokémon. Rock type restrains ice type. You dare to let an ice type Pokémon come? This is different from what you just said. Rock type restrains ice type, but your Pokémon seems to have a ground type Pokémon, and ice restrains ground. In addition, don't forget that Pokémon can learn special moves outside of their own attributes. Zahu kindly reminded. Then let me see your strength. The rules are the same. 2 Pokémon. The first one is Geodude. Brock released one of his only 2 Pokémon. Zahu looked at the Geodude in front of him with a subtle expression. The Nibe gym is a rock type gym, and Brock's appearance character is also a rock type master. However, in the later period, this Geodude became the only rock type Pokémon in Brock's hands. Even Onix abandoned the rock and threw himself into the arms of steel, not to mention the later ones such as Spat, Lucky Egg, and Lot Kappa. After a while, Zahu looked at Zyadagang and said earnestly, treasure your Geodude. If this one is gone, you, the leader of a rock type gym, will not have a rock type Pokémon. Huh. Zyadagang was confused. He has always cherished his Pokémon, but now the battle has begun. Everything is based on the battle. He focused on giving orders. Geodude, use impact. Zahu's expression was subtle. He appreciated Zyadagang's decisiveness, but was he impressed by Zyadagang's command? Ninetales, use ice pebbles, but don't use too much power, Zahu said. Ninetales opened his mouth wide when he heard this, and several ice particles flew out and hit Geodude accurately, and then his eyes circled instantly. You've done well. Come back, Geodude. Brock took back Geodude and encouraged him, then released Onix and said, you are indeed very strong, but my Onix is not weak either. Although the truth hurts, I still want to say that, if your Onix evolves into Steelix, it can still cause some damage to my Ninetales. But now, Zahu took the time to say to Zyozzy, open your eyes wide, and Pikachu, look carefully. If you want to pass the Nibe gym in a normal way, then this is the only trick. Ninetales, use Lightning Flash, and then Iron-Tail. Ninetales' round eyes flashed with a special light, turning into a white light, quickly approaching Onix, and then a white tail flashed with a faint glow, and hit Onix with one tail. Onix's eyes immediately turned into circles, and it fell heavily, raising a cloud of dust. Brock watched all this dully, and he didn't react until Onix fell down. Did he lose just like that? One move, killed in seconds? 2 Pokémon in exchange for 2 moves from the opponent? Or when the opponent showed mercy? Zyadagang suddenly felt so weak. Ahem. Zahu coughed a few times. It's time to give me the gym badge. Oh, right. Zyadagang finally reacted and handed the gym badge to Zahu, saying, you are the most outstanding Pokémon trainer I have ever seen. This gym badge belongs to you. I hope you can achieve good results in the league meeting. I will, but Zyadagang, do you want to form a companion with Zyozzy and the others, and go on a trip together? Zahu said. Travel? Zyadagang frowned. Of course he wanted to, but in reality he couldn't. He sighed and said, sorry, I have to stay here and take care of my brothers and sisters. Taking care of brothers and sisters, isn't this the responsibility of parents? Zyadaksha asked curiously. This is because Zyadagang's father went out to travel alone in order to become the world's strongest Pokémon trainer and left all the family affairs to Zyadagang's mother. Zyadagang's mother left in a rage, and finally Zyadagang was left alone to take care of 10 brothers and sisters. Zahu explained. Ah, so pitiful, Zyadaksha said with a bit of sympathy. To become the world's #1 Pokémon master, leaving the family behind and traveling alone. Why does it sound so familiar to me? Zyozzy on the side pricked up his ears and said, because a dad is like this too. If it weren't for mom being reliable, I would be the second Zyadagang, taking care of you, a jerk. Zahu scolded angrily. So that's how it is. Zyozzy realized it later. Zyadagang, if I can find your dad, will you go out to travel? Zahu asked. If my dad comes back, of course I want to go out to travel, but I don't know where my dad is now. Zyadagang said helplessly. Of course he wanted to go out to travel. Becoming the world's #1 breeder has always been his dream. Don't worry about this. I'll help you find your dad, and you can help me take care of this useless brother. Zahu said. Ah, brother, what's wrong with me? Zyozzy shouted. Zahu ignored him and dragged Zyozzy by the collar and walked outside, saying, in the evening, I will teach Zyozzy and Zyadaksha at the power station by the river. If you want to come, you can come too. I will help you find your father. Chapter 30 Teaching by the River. As a Pokémon trainer, the most important thing is to know about the attribute restraint of Pokémon. First, we need to know how many Pokémon attributes there are. By the river, Kajiro, wearing a formal white coat, began to teach with a pointer in his hand. In terms of the command ability of Pokémon, Kajiro's command level is only at the level of an ordinary trainer. In the original drama, he can only bully passers-by trainers, but he has a good basic knowledge of Pokémon, almost equal to the human Pokémon illustrations. Now that he has been a Pokémon assistant for 5 years, Kajiro's knowledge of Pokémon is definitely enough to educate Zyozzy. Zyozzy had heard of this knowledge before, but he never took it seriously. Now that he has just experienced a failure and Zyozzy is ready to slap him at any time, he is forced to straighten his back and listen to the class. Zahu is teasing Pikachu. If Pikachu wants to defeat the rock-type Pokémon, then the only way to kill it is the Iron Tail. According to the original trajectory, Pikachu learned this move when he arrived in the Hone region. Now, Zahu is ready to teach him this move in advance. As for whether the level is high enough, that's all nonsense. If you need to rely on the level to learn special moves, Pikachu won't be called Pikachu. However, Zahu is not training Pikachu now, but simply playing with it, because this thing is too cute. After training for a few times, Zahu couldn't help playing. Training Pokémon is the responsibility of the trainer. After Zyozzy learns the basics, he can teach him himself. Brother Zahu, are you really training Pikachu? Zyozzy saw the situation here, and couldn't help but say, yes, release the nature, wait for Pikachu to fully recover, and let Zyozzy train tomorrow. Zahu said seriously, is that so? Brother Zahu, can I ask you something? Zyozzy said shyly, what is it? Ask directly. I don't think Zyozzy should be so polite. Zahu smiled. It's like this, Brother Zahu. Just now, when I went to the Pokémon Center, I bought a Pokémon daily and found out that you are the youngest doctor in the league. It's really amazing. Zyozzy said. Just trying hard. Zahu said modestly, waiting for Zyozzy's next words. If that was all, there was nothing to ask. Then, I bought a weekly Pokémon gossip magazine, and I found out that you knew Master Kona, and you were also Master Kona's rumored boyfriend. Can you take me to meet Master Kona? Zyozzy said. Rumored boyfriend? Zahu frowned. Who wrote that irresponsibly? Isn't it? Zyozzy said. Of course not. I must find this bastard who wrote that. Then thank him well. Zahu said with a vicious look on his face. Then you don't know Master Kona. Zyozzy said disappointedly. That's not it, Sister Kona. I have known her since 5 years ago, and we have never stopped contacting each other until now. I helped her Ninetale evolve. Zahu said, and I even have the key to her house. Is that so? Then Brother Zahu, can you help me ask about the secret technique of the water Pokémon Master to win? Zyozzy said. Secret technique to win? Zahu looked surprised. What are you talking about? It's the special secret technique of the 4 Heavenly Kings that Master Kona uses to win. Zyozzy said. Who told you that the 4 Heavenly Kings are invincible? And who said that they have a secret technique to win? I'll take you to meet the 4 Heavenly Kings one day and change your worldview. Zahu said helplessly. Sure enough, in the minds of ordinary people, the 4 Heavenly Kings are almost like gods, but in fact, it's really too much to think about it. Brother Zahu, do you know the 4 Heavenly Kings? Zyozzy said in surprise. Yes, I know them all. Zahu nodded, looked at Zyozzy, thought for a moment and said, Zyozzy, since you call me big brother, I won't be shy and tell you something. Your strength needs to be improved. You should have 3 Pokémon now, Gem Starfish, Starfish, and Goldfish, but the strength of the 3 is only average, especially Gem Starfish, which is not as strong as Starfish. With your strength, you are still far from becoming the world's strongest water Pokémon master. I know that, so I left home and traveled. Zyozzy said embarrassedly. Just for the sake of home, you have to become stronger. The hope of the Cerulean Gym lies in you. Zahu said. Brother Zahu, how do you know I'm from the Cerulean Gym? Zyozzy asked curiously. She clearly didn't say it. Do you think I'm Zyozzy? Before I traveled, I had already investigated all the gym trainers in the Kanto gym, including their families. It's not difficult to find out about you, the youngest sister of the 3 Cerulean sisters. Zahu said. So that's how it is. Zyozzy said. If we compare water ballet, the 3 of you combined, cannot match any of your sisters. And if we talk about Pokémon duels, your 3 sisters combined cannot match you alone. Zahu said. Really? Am I that good? Zyraksha said excitedly. As the youngest of the 4 Cerulean sisters, she has always been ignored since she was a child. This is the first time someone says that she is better than her 3 sisters. Yes, you are ordinary in terms of trainer level, but your 3 sisters are not as good as novices. Cerulean Gym, the weakest gym in Kanto. As long as you go, you will get a badge, just like giving it away for free. I have received confirmed news that within a year, a Pokémon prosecutor will inspect all gyms in Kanto, and gyms that fail to meet the standards will be closed. If you can't become an elite trainer, the Cerulean Gym will be closed, Zahu said. Within a year, Zyraksha's face suddenly changed. Thinking of her 3 sisters, a feeling of powerlessness and despair rose. That's right. So, Zyraksha, you should also try to challenge the Pokémon Gym and participate in the league competition, Zahu suggested. There are 5 female protagonists in history: Misty, Yayo, Dawn, Alice, and Serena. The last 4 were all newcomers when they met Ash, with Ash playing the role of his predecessor. Then they followed Ash, fully embodying the perfect law that following the protagonist will give you a meal. Yayo can be said to have the biggest halo. Not only did she evolve her first Pokémon Charmeleon into Blaziken, she also captured Squirtle and Bulbasaur, 2 of the 3 starter Pokémon in Kanto, and evolved them into Squirtle and Venusaur respectively. Dawn is not bad either. Her initial Pokémon Togeman is similar to Ash's Squirtle. I don't evolve it, but I'm good enough. I also captured an extra Infernape and evolved it into Rockwraith. Later, I got a Togekiss for free. She was the runner-up in the first gorgeous contest. As for Alice, she even has Dragonite. If the game develops according to the rules, she will become the champion. The last Serena has fewer Pokémon, but she also has Squirtle and Vixen. Only Misty played the role of a senior trainer who gave guidance instead of a new trainer who received guidance during her journey with Zyraksha. Therefore, she did not participate in any major competitions along the way, and her strength hardly increased. She captured 5 Pokémon in total: Seahorse, Togepi, Psyduck, Nat, and Sun Coral. However, after Seahorse was captured, it did not have a chance to appear for several times, and was put into the cold palace of the Cerulean Gym, and has not come out much since then. Togepi has always played the role of a mascot, and finally evolved, but ended up leaving. Psyduck, who came to the door on his own, was nicknamed the Duck God, and had invincible telekinesis, but was only funny unless he had a headache. Nat, who also came to the door on his own, was okay in the early stage, but after accidentally evolving into Bullfrog in the later stage, his personality changed drastically, and he was just a cheerleader. The last Sun Coral was not bad, but compared with the other heroines, it was far behind. Instead, after getting rid of Satoshi and returning to the gym, Misty's strength increased like a rocket. She subdued the ace Gyarados. In Hone, Gyarados made a stunning appearance with a fire spray, which attracted a lot of admiration. Finally, in Sun and Moon, not to mention, she could actually command Psyduck to use Water Gun and make Gyarados evolve by 1,000,000 times, which shocked a group of people. Chapter 31, Separation. Pikachu, you Scientail. Pikachu suddenly jumped into the sky, its spring-like tail flashing a faint light, and then it turned around and was about to hit the tree in front. However, just when it was about to hit, the light on the tail disappeared completely. After the tail hit, there was no reaction. Pikachu sat on the ground with a cute face. It's still a failure. Zyraksha showed an annoyed expression. Pikachu walked over and patted Zyraksha's calf, as if to comfort him and say it's okay. Yes, Pikachu, let's try again, Zyraksha said with blood boiling. On the side, Zyraksha, Zyadagang and Zyadagang's father Wunang, who had just been found by Zahu and returned to the Nibe Gym early in the morning, but was too embarrassed to see his family, looked at this scene and shook their heads together. It's still not working. It's not bad. After all, I just taught you yesterday. Now you can do it half well. You can probably learn it in about 2 days. I don't know if Zyadagang can still beat you by then, Zahu said. It should be possible, but it doesn't matter if we can't beat him. Cyanogang smiled. He finally found his father and could finally go out for a trip. It didn't matter for the last gym match. Anyway, he already recognized Zyos's performance in his heart, so it would be best if Zyos won. If he couldn't win, he would let him win. As for whether it was fair or not, the gym trainers themselves needed to decide the lineup based on the level of the challenger's strength. Cyanogang only had 2 Pokémon, so he could only use Geodude and Onix. So he thought it was okay. If he wanted him to pass, he had to let him win. That's right. You are relaxed now. Zahu smiled, looking at Zyossi, Zylaksha, and Cyanogang, with a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. This was the childhood he was most familiar with. In a sense, this was the best combination. In fact, I still have a lot of questions to ask you, Brother Zahu, such as how to raise Pokémon. If Zyossi hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that you were actually an 8th level Pokémon breeder. Cyanogang said, when you can raise the Pokémon of the entire research institute by yourself, you will also reach this level. In fact, Pokémon trainers, breeders, coordinators, and doctors, although they perform differently, are essentially the same. The most important thing is to understand the heart of Pokémon, understand the thoughts of Pokémon, and then let Pokémon fully exert his potential. Zahu said. In the end, no matter what identity it is, Pokémon comes first, and identity comes second. The protagonist is Pokémon. Zahu said. So that's how it is. Cyanogang suddenly realized. I have never been a coordinator trainer, so I can't say much about coordinators, but I think I have some weight in Pokémon trainers and professors. Each Pokémon is unique. They are living creatures and the best companions of trainers, not cold data. This includes appearance such as height and weight, as well as personal character. So, in summary, some powerful Pokémon have their own fighting style, and even if this style matches the trainer's own style, there will be deviations. So an excellent trainer does not blindly let Pokémon accommodate him, but makes his own rhythm more suitable for Pokémon, makes himself become Pokémon, and gives full play to the power of Pokémon. Zahu said. This is the perception of a king level trainer. Cyanogang and Zylaksha didn't react after hearing this, but just felt that it was amazing. But Wunang, who had traveled outside, was shocked. King? Cyanogang and Zylaksha also looked at Zahu with horror. Is this new big brother so powerful? I haven't reached that point yet. I've fought against all the current 4 heavenly kings, but my best result was only beating 3 of them. Zahu shook his head. In a 6-on-6 duel, it's already amazing to be able to beat 3 of the 4 heavenly kings. Wunang continued to admire. There are more than 4 heavenly king level trainers in a region, but the 4 heavenly kings of the alliance are basically the 4 strongest heavenly kings in a region. But Brother Zahu, it seems that only 4 Pokémon can participate in the battle now. Zylaksha suddenly said. Cyanogang and Wunang's expressions turned into shock again. 4-4, losing 3, this strength is almost at the heavenly king level. Brother Zahu, at your level, why do you still want to travel? Cyanogang couldn't help but say, at your level, you are bullying us gym trainers. Because I have been holding back for several years, before I can travel. Besides gym trainers, there are many other interesting things on the road, which you can't encounter at home. Not to mention, in addition to Kanto, there are also Pokémon in Johto, Hone, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, and Alala, which I haven't seen completely. Zahu said. Yes, the most interesting experience in my life is when I travel. I will never forget that memory in my life. Wunang looked emotional, as if he wanted to go back. Dad. Zyanogang shouted loudly, even his eyes were so small that they could not be any smaller, and the murderous intent could be clearly seen at this moment. If you dare to say that you still want to travel, I will let Geodude knock you out with 1 punch, and then leave Nibe City overnight. Don't worry, Dad knows what's going on, and I won't leave again this time. Wunang promised again and again. Yeah. Zyanogang nodded with relief. If you dare to leave again, even if we are father and son, I will turn against you. Okay, I'll leave Zyossi to you too. I'm almost going to continue my journey. Zahu said. Brother Zahu, you won't travel with us? Zylaksha asked curiously. If I take you with me on the journey, I'm afraid that you guys will always rely on me and not grow up on your own. Zahu said, if I take you three with me, plus Meowth and Kajiro, I won't call you Zahu, I'll just call you Nani Zhi. Okay, brother Zahu, see you at the league conference. Zylaksha said. She also decided to challenge the Kanto League. And she just got the badge of the Nabijin from Zyao Gang. See you at the league conference. I hope you will have a good performance. And please take good care of Zyozzy, the water flower in Cerulean City, and the Rockman in Nibi City. Zahu didn't even look back, waved his hand, and took Meowth and Kajiro on the journey again. The water flower of Hualan City? Zylaksha's eyes sparkled, and she was extremely happy. Finally, someone recognized her. She would definitely do it. Thinking of this, Zylaksha looked at Zyozzy on the side, and clenched her fists. She felt that Zyozzy needed a slap of love to encourage him. My bicycle, here I come. Chapter 32 Articuno. After separating from Zyozzy and his group, Zahu and his group set out on their journey again. Passing by Eugian Mountain, Zahu and his group filmed a group of Pippi prayer dance videos for Professor Oak, and submitted them to the Alliance, which was Zahu's annual report for this year. Seeing that they were about to reach Cerulean City, Zahu and his group stopped in a jungle, and stopped to make a fire and rest as usual. The Pokémon were playing freely on the side. It's time to eat. Zahu smelled the fragrant smell of the broth, and shouted to everyone, eat. Hearing these two words, Meowth immediately jumped up from his seat. Zahu grabbed Meowth with one hand and said, why are you so excited? You cat tongue, you can't eat such hot food. What's cooked here is for me and Kajiro. You have to wait until we finish eating before you can eat. Otherwise, don't blame me if your tongue is burned. No, boss, you can use the nine-tailed fox's freezing ray to quickly cool it down. Meowth said. Ninetale's special move is not for you to use like this, and Ninetale also needs to eat. If you want to eat quickly, look forward to snow. Zahu said. How is it possible? It's the perfect weather to go to the beach to sunbathe. How can it snow? Meowth said dissatisfiedly. That's your problem. Zahu shrugged and was about to serve soup to people, but at this time, a snowflake happened to fall. Zahu. 0_0. What the hell? What kind of weather is it now? There are a group of beautiful women swimming on the beach in Land Prachi. Snow? Are you kidding me? Or is Meowth's mouth blessed? Whatever you say, it will happen. Zahu looked at Meowth and thought, if this is the case, should Meowth say that he will meet a mythical beast in the next moment? Boss, look at the sky. Kajiro suddenly shouted. What? Is there really a mythical beast? Zahu raised his head with amusement, and then his smile froze. Then I saw an elegant bat with an icy blue body flying freely in the sky, with a gorgeous posture. As it flew through the air, bits of ice particles fell, reflecting rich and beautiful light. The three sacred birds of Kanto, Articuno. What a divine beast. Zahu looked at Meowth at the first time, and I will make you a flag planting expert in the future. Boss, Articuno, don't hesitate, let's catch him quickly. Meowth said excitedly. Do you need me to tell you? Articuno, I want it. Zahu's eyes glowed, and he said to Pockis on the side, Pockis, fly up to the sky, and attack Articuno with their knives. Although Pockis, who was waiting for food, did not expect Zahu to give an order suddenly, as an excellent Pockis, he still flew up to the sky at the first time, vibrated his wings, and slashed at Articuno with two air knives like sharp blades. Articuno, who was flying rapidly, seemed to have not expected someone to suddenly attack him. He was hit directly, uttered a whine, and almost fell to the ground. He barely pulled himself together, revealing an angry look. No matter what creature, being attacked for no reason would be annoyed. Articuno, I want to conquer you. Zahu shouted to Articuno from below. Articuno roared angrily, and a special ball of water burst out of its mouth, and then quickly shot towards Pockis. Water type trick, water wave. Pockis, use the spin attack. Pockis responded to Zahu with a sound, and at the same time, made a beautiful spin in the air, perfectly avoiding the water wave, and then went behind Articuno and hit the back of Articuno accurately. Spin attack, also known as Yanfan, is a must-hit skill in the game. Although there is no such thing as a must hit in reality, the hit rate of spin attack is extremely high, and the spin attack almost teleports behind the opponent, so it is also a strong defensive move. Articuno made another painful sound, and Zahu frowned. If he remembered correctly, Articuno had high defense and high HP, so how could it be killed by just one turn attack? Articuno was hit twice in a row, and was furious. It shot out an ice blow light from its mouth and hit Pockis. Pockis, magic flash, spin dance. Zahu shouted urgently. This was Articuno's freezing ray, an ice skill that restrained flying Pockis. If it was hit, Pockis would be seriously injured. After hearing this, Pockis flapped its wings, flexibly bypassed the ice pillar, turned sideways in the air, and shone with a beautiful light. Then it quickly rushed towards Articuno and hit it head on again. Articuno let out a mournful cry. Zahu had a strange expression. The spinning dance was a trick he invented himself. To be precise, it was not a trick, just like the backfist protection circle invented by Zyozzy in the Sinnoh region. It was not a trick of Pokémon, but it could be used directly in reality, and the effect was good. Pockis was a naturally elegant Pokémon. Zahu did not correct him in particular, but developed the spinning dance for this reason, which was specially used to dodge other people's attacks, which could greatly improve the dodge rate. In the subsequent attacks, because the rotation strengthened the power of the magic flash would be stronger. But even so, with the strength of Articuno, it shouldn't be like this. If it was so weak, this Articuno would not be worth conquering. After 3 consecutive fights, Articuno could not gain any advantage. He became more angry, and his 2 wings glowed. He used the steel wing trick on Pockis, like cutting through the air. Don't be afraid, Pockis. You also use the steel wing to fight back head on, Zahu said. Pockis's expression was tense, and his wings flashed. He also cut over at a very fast speed. The 2 wings collided with each other, but the situation was not as stalemate as Zahu imagined. Instead, Articuno was quickly seriously injured, and fell to the ground. Why is this Articuno so weak? Isn't it a legendary Pokémon? Meow Meow asked curiously. The wings of this Articuno seem to be injured. Kajiro said sharply. The wings are injured? Zahu was startled, and suddenly knew which bad this Articuno was. There is a big difference between the animation and the game. In the game, the battle frontier is the Hone region, while in the animation, the battle frontier is in Kanto. The battle mastermind of the first battle facility of the battle factory in the battle frontier is Dara, who uses an Articuno to fight Zyozzy. The encounter between Dara and Articuno is that Articuno's wings were injured and could not land. Dara helped him, so they became good friends. Although they did not capture it, they could command it. This Articuno is obviously the one. Come back, Pockis. No need to attack. Zahu gave the order to stop. Pockis cried out. Although he was puzzled, he still landed beside Zahu, raised his head, and showed an expression of seeking praise. Well, you are great, thank you. Zahu smiled. He raised this Pockis from childhood. When he was still an egg, he took good care of him, and always treated him like a father. Pockis cried out happily, and rubbed his head against Zahu affectionately. Zahu touched his head, and then walked towards the injured Articuno. Seeing Zahu coming, Articuno showed a wary expression in his eyes, and cried out sharply to warn. Sorry, I didn't know you were injured. I don't want to take advantage of the bird's danger. I will help you heal your wounds first, and then duel with you, Zahu said. Articuno didn't listen. As a wild Pokémon, it has a strong sense of defense against humans. Zahu had just attacked him, so how could he have a good attitude? He spit out water waves again. Zahu was hit head on and fell backwards. Although he was not seriously injured, he was in great pain and looked miserable. Meow, you dare to hurt the boss. Meow Meow quickly jumped over and pretended to protect him. The Pokémon who were waiting for food also rushed over immediately. Whether it was the Ninetales with its tail hair sculpted, or the Snorlax who was sleeping soundly, they all rushed over and surrounded Articuno tightly, as if they would beat him to death if Articuno dared to attack again. It's okay, there's no need to do this. Everyone, disperse and go back to eat. Meow Meow, translate to Articuno that we have no intention of hurting him. Zahu stopped his Pokémon and said, okay, Meow. Meow Meow responded and translated to Articuno. My boss and I have no intention of hurting you, nor will we take advantage of your injury to bully you. Now we are just here to save you. You can distrust my boss, but you can't distrust me. We are all Pokémon. The trick of being all Pokémon allows Meow Meow to passively increase his affinity by 20% when facing Pokémon. It has always worked, but today is obviously an exception. Wild Pokémon are inherently hostile to Pokémon raised by humans, not to mention being beaten now. So the result of Meow Meow's courage to go over is that he was frozen into an ice cube by a freezing ray of Articuno. However, in the injured state, using 2 special moves in succession, Articuno looks even more uncomfortable, and it is obvious that the injury is more serious. Were you injured by Moltres or Zapdos? You are in danger now. You may not want to be subdued by me, but you can't ignore your own life. Believe me, okay? Zahu said sincerely. Articuno tilted his head, as if thinking, but his eyes were always full of defense when he looked at Zahu. Think about it, even if I want to subdue you, I have to use your powerful fighting power, right? I can't let you become weak. If I really want to do something to you, I will let Togekiss hit you directly, right? So trust me, okay? Zahu tried hard to express his goodwill. He really wanted to subdue Articuno and enjoy the pleasure of subduing a legendary beast, but more importantly, he wanted Articuno to be healthy. Compared to this, he would rather not subdue Articuno. This is a quality that every normal trainer should have, and Zahu naturally has it. Looking into Zahu's eyes, Articuno seemed to feel Zahu's sincerity, and finally nodded. Zahu then smiled happily, approached Articuno with the first aid spray, and sprayed the spray on Articuno. Articuno cried out in pain, and a fierce light subconsciously flashed in his eyes. Bear with it, it will hurt a little at first, but you will feel better soon. Zahu's gentle voice sounded, and Articuno felt that there was nothing wrong with his body, so he continued to treat Zahu. Zahu concentrated on treating Articuno's injuries. In order to have a better journey, the preparations he made were completely incomparable to that of Xiaozi, a rookie. In addition to being an 8th level breeder and a good cook, he was also an intern Pokémon doctor and a professional in treating Pokémon. Chapter 33, Conquering Articuno. The stars were bright and there was silence. In the jungle, a bonfire was burning to drive away the beasts that might come. After a busy day, Zahu and his team slept in their sleeping bags. After half a day's rest, Articuno, whose injuries had mostly recovered, flapped his wings gently and found that he could fly. He happily turned in the sky. Although he felt that his body was not as good as before being injured by Moltres, he could fly freely. That human didn't lie to himself. Articuno thought, flew again, and landed next to Zahu. Looking at Zahu who was sleeping soundly, there was a strange expression in his eyes. This human was so strange. At the beginning, he obviously wanted to subdue me and let that Pokémon attack me. But when I was injured, he not only didn't take the opportunity to throw the Pokémon ball at me, but he treated my injuries. Later, he didn't care about me much, and he was not afraid that I would run away. Articuno tilted his head and thought for a while, then nodded his head on Zahu's head, and a strange light flashed on his body. Eye of the heart. When used in battle, it is to feel the opponent's actions with your heart, and the next attack will definitely hit the opponent. When used in daily life, it can also sense the truest thoughts in a creature's heart. Become the world's #1 Pokémon master. Make Mom and Xiaozi happy. Make Kona my wife. Conquer all kinds of Pokémon. Make my Pokémon happy. Articuno showed a very human and strange expression. Human beings are so strange. How can they have so many thoughts? Articuno thought about it, lowered his head, and used the Eye of the Heart to sense Zahu's thoughts on it. I wonder how Articuno's injury is. I hope he gets well soon. Wait until it recovers, and then we'll have another match. When the time comes, I'll beat it, and then capture it. I just don't know if it will die when it wakes up tomorrow. If it does, I'll lose. It can't be helped. Everything is based on Articuno's health. I can't let it get hurt. Pokémon are partners. I can't force you to capture them if they don't want to. If it dies, I hope Articuno will be healthy and happy. If it doesn't, I'll capture it and beat Moltres and Zapdos. Beat Moltres and Zapdos. Articuno showed an expression of desire. Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno are collectively known as the three gods. In the Orange Islands, the three strongest ones, the leaders of the three gods, are also known as the god of fire, the god of thunder, and the god of ice. However, the three gods are natural enemies. Moreover, the rules of the world are very magical. Almost every time, the three gods are born together. When each god is born, it knows its mortal enemy, and then fights to the death. But among the three mythical birds, Articuno is at a disadvantage. Fire overcomes ice, and lightning overcomes flying, so Moltres and Zapdos both overcome it. Zapdos is better, because Articuno's ice attribute can overcome flying, but Moltres can't do anything about it. Fire resists ice, so it is completely beaten. Thinking of the battle with Togekiss just now, Togekiss completely suppressed him. Articuno showed an expression of desire. Should he follow? It can beat Moltres and Zapdos, two rotten birds. Articuno fell into a deep tangle. On the one hand, it was proud of being a mythical beast and yearning for freedom and didn't want to be conquered. On the other hand, the huge temptation of beating Moltres and Zapdos made it not want to leave. What should I do? Articuno thought distressedly, and then his health was not very good to begin with. Thinking about it, he finally felt sleepy and lay down next to Zahu to sleep. The sun rose high and the bright sunshine shone down. Zahu opened his eyes sleepily and felt his body was cool and comfortable, just like hugging a piece of ice. His mind was full of doubts. Could it be that Ninetales came out of the Pokémon ball again and got into my bed? When he opened his eyes, the appearance of Articuno came into view. Zahu was full of surprise. Why did Articuno sleep next to me? However, seeing the appearance of Articuno, which looked healthy, Zahu was overjoyed and said, "Articuno, are you well?" Articuno was awakened by Zahu and felt Zahu's excitement. It was also happy. It broke free from Zahu's arms, flew beautifully into the sky, and flew a circle gracefully, showing that it was well. That's it. It's great. Articuno, let me ask you, do you want to have a duel with me now? If you win, come with me and be my Pokémon. Zahu shouted. After hearing this, Articuno immediately landed and called Zahu a few times. Zahu scratched his head. Although he was a Pokémon doctor, he couldn't understand Pokémon's words. Meow, don't sleep, come and translate. Zahu pulled Meow up and said, although I can't understand Pokémon's words, I have a special Pokémon translator. Meow, what's the matter? Meow said sleepily. Help me translate. Zahu said. Oh. Meow replied blankly, letting Articuno say it again, and then said, I admit that your strength is different. I will follow you for a while. If you can train me to defeat Moltres and Zapdos, I will be your Pokémon. If not, I will leave. So, you are willing to be my Pokémon? Zahu said excitedly. Articuno nodded proudly and spread his wings. Zahu happily hugged Articuno. No matter what happens next, he will capture it first. Besides, it is not difficult to beat Moltres and Zapdos. Ice restrains flying, and then there will be water waves, so there is a certain way to deal with Moltres. Articuno also hugged Zahu, indicating that he recognized this temporary master. I'll be grateful for your guidance in the future. Zahu threw his Pokeball and successfully captured Articuno. I finally captured my first legendary beast. Zahu happily kissed his Pokeball. He finally had his fifth Pokémon that could fight. With Ghastly that arrived later, the 6 Pokémon that would join the league were complete. I captured it. Congratulations, boss. Meow Meow was also happy for Zahu. Well said. For what you said, starting this month, your bonus will be increased by 1000. Zahu said. 1000. Meow Meow shouted excitedly and immediately lost all sleepiness. Finally, his salary was increased. What are you doing? Why don't you let me sleep well? Zyajero, who had just woken up, yawned and said, really, I'm tired from traveling during the day, and I can't sleep comfortably. It's inhumane exploitation. Zahu, who was originally full of excitement, heard Zyajiero's words, and his face darkened. You force me to do this. He took a deep breath, and said in surprise, Rumigia, why are you here? Rumigia. Rumigia. Zyajiro, who couldn't even open his eyes, jumped up immediately when he heard Rumigia, and then chose a road without hesitation, ran wildly, and finally fell directly into a river. Zahu raised his eyebrows happily when he saw this. It was a capital crime to say bad things about the boss and be heard. Boss, it seems immoral for you to do this. Mio rarely felt guilty. You are right. Your 1000 bonus is gone. Zahu said. Ah. Boss, I didn't say anything. Kojiro dared to say bad things about you behind your back, so he deserved it. He deserved death. It was a relief for him that he wasn't drowned. Mio quickly adjusted his position and said, well said, the bonus will be restored, plus another 500. Zahu said with a smile. Chapter 34, Reunion with Kona. First meeting with Yashida. Cerulean City, Pokémon Center. Zahu sat on the sofa, seemingly drinking leisurely, but the eyes that glanced at the door from time to time betrayed his mood at the moment. Boss, don't be so anxious. Kona said she won't arrive until 12 noon. It's only 11 o'clock now. Don't be so anxious. Meow Meow said leisurely on the sofa, after eating and drinking. Nonsense, how can I be anxious? Zahu said seriously. Boss, even I can see that your eyes are always looking at the door. Why? We are all family. What are you hiding from us? Kojiro said. Kojiro, is your salary enough recently? Zahu asked back. You are threatening with salary again. Can you change your clothes? Kojiro said dissatisfiedly. Besides salary and Lumigia, what else are you afraid of? Zahu asked back. You don't let me threaten you with salary. Do you want me to tip off Lumigia and then sell you for money? Just pretend I didn't say anything. Zainajiro shrank his neck and looked out the window. But if you like someone, chase them. Don't keep being ambiguous. It's not good. So like you like someone the first time you meet, you prepare to write a love letter the second time you meet, and you run away from marriage the third time you meet. Zahu continued Zainajiro's short story mercilessly. How did you know? Zainajiro looked horrified. He had never told anyone about this. Keep it a secret. But Zainajiro, do you think I can find the love letter you buried? Zahu said with a smile. Boss, just pretend I didn't say anything. Zainajiro quickly gave in. That love letter was a stain he couldn't let anyone see in his life. Zahu looked at Kojiro proudly. He would not tell Kojiro that, although he really wanted to read the love letter Kojiro wrote. The love letter was now in the Sinnoh region and was protected by a mechanical safe. If the wrong password was entered, it would be attacked. If it was an irresistible danger, the safe could also turn into a rocket and fly away, so he didn't know anything about it. Meow. Boss, someone is coming. Meow Meow suddenly said. Here they are. Zahu's eyes lit up, and he quickly put down the drink in his hand. The next moment, the person was already outside. Not in a hurry? More anxious than I was back then. Kojiro said disdainfully. Zahu rushed out of the Pokémon Center as soon as possible and saw a sports car stop. Kona, who had not seen him for a long time, walked out of it and then rushed over and hugged him. Although Kona was a little surprised at first, after knowing that it was Zahu, he smiled and hugged Zahu back and said, okay, it's not that long since we last met. Don't you miss you? Zahu raised his head and showed a bright smile. Kona's embrace was really comfortable. If you missed me, you wouldn't have come to see me for half a year. Come on, I'll introduce someone to you. Kona patted Zahu on the back and made room. Zahu looked over and saw a short fat middle-aged man wearing sunglasses and casual clothes sitting in the car. He smiled at him and said, hello, boy, my name is Yashida. Yashida, Battle Frontier. Zahu was surprised. The man in front of him was Yashida, who asked Zyossi to challenge the Battle Frontier in the Super Generation. Huh. Brother, you actually know the Battle Frontier? Yashida was surprised. I know, it's a place where powerful trainers from all over the world gather. Then Mr. Yashida, as the founder of the Battle Frontier, invites people who think they have potential to participate in the Battle Frontier, and lets them challenge the Battle Frontier with the goal of dominating the Battle Frontier. Zahu said. It's rare that someone knows about the Battle Frontier without being invited by me. No wonder Miss Kona recommended it to me and said to challenge the Battle Frontier. Yashida said. Sister Kona, this is the place you found for me to train my strength? That's right. Kamishiro and Lilla in the battle frontier are both very strong, especially Kamishiro, who is half a monster. Zahu said suddenly. It seems that the boy knows the battle frontier very well. It would be a pity if you don't come. Now I formally invite you, and I hope you can dominate the battle frontier. Yashida said seriously. I accept, and I will definitely succeed. This is Cerulean City, which is very close to the battle factory. The first one is there. Zahu said. Little brother knows too much, which makes me, the guide, feel useless. Yashida smiled bitterly. I know everything in the world without leaving home. This is my goal. I set out 5 years later than others, so naturally I have 5 years more knowledge than others. Zahu said. Okay, I'm really looking forward to your battle with Dala now. Dala is also a very powerful trainer. Yashida said. That's why we want to try it. Are we going now? Zahu asked. Yes, get in the car. Yashida said. Okay, Kachiro, Meowth, follow me. Zahu shouted inside, and then the three of them got in the car together. Kajiro held Meowth in the passenger seat, and then he and Kona sat in the back. How many badges did you get? Kona asked curiously. Just an Abijim badge. You said you had something else for me to play with, so I wasn't in a hurry to challenge it. I'm sure I'll pass the Pokémon test. If it doesn't work, find a Pokémon school to get a certificate and let me participate. Zahu said indifferently. That's what I said, but it's rare that you didn't challenge the Cerulean gym. I thought you would go. Kona said. 3 weaklings. I can win, even if I send Magikarp. I'm too lazy to fight. There's no pressure. This kind of gym should actually be closed. Just open an aquarium or a ballet performance hall. Zahu said. But they are beautiful, the 3 sisters of Cerulean famous beauties in Kanto. Kona laughed. Compared to Sister Kona, they are all scum. Sister Kona is here. Of course there is no time to look at other ugly ducklings. Zahu said. It's just a nice thing to say, just to coax me. Kona's eyes curved, revealing joy. You've been out for so long. Have you captured any new Pokémon? Of course I have, and they are great Pokémon. If I show you, you will snatch mine. Zahu said. Who do you think I am? Even if you caught Ho-Oh, I won't snatch it from you, and you're still on guard against me. Kona said unhappily. Wait until we meet. I'm afraid you'll be really tempted. Zahu said. Of course you won't snatch Ho-Oh, you specialize in ice. You don't mind water. You don't like fire and flying. But I'm afraid you'll go crazy when you see Articuno. You should know that there are only 3 ice-type beasts, Articuno, Regius, and Kyurem. If Kona, who specializes in ice, sees Articuno, it would be a miracle if he doesn't go crazy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35, Battle Factory. Yashida had come to the battle factory more than once or twice, so he drove fast and steadily, and arrived at the place quickly. As soon as he got off the car, Zahu and his companions saw a group of people who were specializing in breeding various Pokémon, such as Venusaur, Tyrannosaurus, Rhinoceros, Raiden, etc. With Zahu's professional ability as a Pokémon doctor and an 8th level breeder, he knew at a glance that the Pokémon bred here were very excellent, and he became more interested in the upcoming battle. Before Zahu opened his mouth to look for someone, he heard a rumbling sound and saw a plane parked next to him in the sky. In the cockpit of the plane, a middle-aged man wearing a red hat and black-framed glasses greeted Yashida and said, "Yashida, what challenger are you bringing me this time?" "Hey, Dara, the challenger I brought this time is the youngest doctor in the entire league, and the younger brother of the king of Kona, Dr. Zahu," Yashida said. "Drive Zahu? The discoverer of the fairy attribute, what a great man." Dara got off the plane and stretched out his hand to Zahu. "Hello, I'm Dara, the pioneering brain of the battle factory. My usual hobby is inventing things." "Hello, I'm Zahu, and my usual hobby is Pokémon." Zahu shook his hand and said, "If I only have Pokémon, then life will be a bit monotonous. I think besides Pokémon, I should have my own interests. I like to invent and make things. For example, this plane is made by myself. Dara said. After hearing this, Zahu shrugged helplessly and thought, does this mean that all-powerful Pokémon trainers have side jobs? Just like the Sinnoh champion, Bamboo Ran, in addition to being a champion, is also a researcher of ancient Pokémon culture and history. The knowledge of Pokémon is endless and vast. I spend a lot of time studying this, and I don't have much time to develop other hobbies. But if it comes to mechanical manufacturing, my assistant Kojiro is a leader. Zahu smiled and said politely, which he said proudly. Kojiro and Meow Meow's ability to invent mechanical inventions is among the top in the world. Really? Then let's discuss it sometime, Dara said to Kojiro. Okay. Kojiro answered readily. Discussing mechanical inventions was something he was good at, so it didn't matter. Okay, you guys can wait for a while to be polite. Now it's time for the game. Yashida interrupted the conversation between the two. Okay, all the Pokémon you see here are my Pokémon. Dr. Zahu, you choose a Pokémon as your opponent. Dara said. I'll leave this sentence to Mr. Dara. Because today I plan to challenge you with the Pokémon I just captured. This Pokémon restrains 90% of your Pokémon. If I choose it, there will be no need to fight this game. Zahu said. Restrain 90%? What Pokémon is that? Dara asked curiously. Yes, which one? You don't even look down on ordinary Pokémon. Is it the 3 starters or the more powerful quasi-god? Kona also asked curiously. Neither. It's more powerful. Come out, Articuno. Zahu released Articuno, and Articuno came out of the Pokéball, looked around first, and then rubbed Zahu's face affectionately. Recently, he has become addicted to eating the Pokémon food that Zahu made specifically for him, and he has become more and more inseparable from it. The legendary Pokémon Articuno? Zahu was relaxed, but Yashida, Dara, and Kona were completely deceived. The legendary beast was actually captured like this? Yes, I encountered it when I was in Tsukumiyama, and captured it by the way. Mr. Dara, I will use this one to challenge. Which one will you use? Zahu asked. Why do you say that? It sounds like you are the pioneering brain and I'm the challenger. But facing the legendary Pokémon Articuno, we really can't be careless. Wait a minute, I will tell you my choice. Dara fell into deep thought. The strongest Pokémon he has a Venusaur, Tyrannosaurus, and so on. But Venusaur is a grass type, and flying is better than grass, ice is better than grass, and the super strength fighting type is also better than flying. Finally, Tyrannosaurus is a rock type that is better than ice and flying types, but Tyrannosaurus is a ground type, and ground types are better than ice types. Facing the legendary Pokémon, Dara dare not take risks. Yashida looked at Zahu's Articuno in shock, and had a vague idea in his mind that maybe this boy could really dominate the battle frontier. Kona was much simpler. He did nothing when there were people around. After Yashida and Dara walked away, he immediately grabbed Zahu's ear and yelled, "When did you get Articuno? You dare to hide it from me? You are so brave." "No, I wanted to tell you the day I caught it, but you told me that you would meet in Cerulean City that day, so I wanted to give you a surprise when we met," Zahu said. "Surprise? I think you just want to show off to me." Kona saw through Zahu's plan and said, "Sister Kona, I'm such an honest person, how could I show off to you? You misunderstood me," Zahu said righteously. "Yes, then give me a big surprise, and give me Articuno. I can agree to anything you ask for." Before Kona finished her seductive voice, Zahu quickly broke free from her clutches and instantly pulled more than 5 meters away from her, saying with a defensive look, "Who are you? Do I know you? Kojiro, meow meow, who is this person? Do you know him? You don't know him, right? Let's go home and have dinner." Seeing Zahu's funny behavior, Kona was so angry that she laughed. She couldn't do anything about Zahu. As for Kojiro and Meow Meow, they were flying freely in the sky in Dara's plane. In response to Zahu's words, they said that it was none of our business to quarrel. How could being a light bulb be as fun as flying a plane? Zahu and his group were playing and laughing. After lunch, Dara finally decided on the Pokémon to fight, Raiden. As expected by Zahu, although the rock type restrains the frozen bird 4 times, the rock type in Kanto often has the ground type, and the body is heavy, so it is difficult to attack the flying type. The thunder beast is different. The electric type restrains the flying type, and it will not be restrained by the ice type or the flying type. In addition, it is agile, which is very advantageous if it is a closed room battle. Unlike the challenge of ordinary gyms, the challenge of the battle factory is undoubtedly more grand. Zahu and Dara stand on a several meter high platform without guardrails to command the Pokémon. Standing here to command the Pokémon, in addition to testing the strength of the Pokémon and the command ability of the trainer, it also tests the trainer's courage and ability. However, looking at the dome that was not opened, Zahu couldn't help but think in his heart that this was cheating openly. In order to limit the flying ability of the frozen bird, the dome was deliberately not opened. Should he be thankful that he was strong and let Dara change the rules, or should he scold Dara? The game begins. Let me see the ability of a trainer with a legendary Pokémon. Raiden, use 100,000 volts. Dara said calmly. He flies all day long, so this height is not a problem for him. A strong blue electric current burst out from Raiden's body and went straight to Articuno. Articuno, move at high speed. Articuno, who was originally a little panicked, heard Zahu's command, and a light flashed on his body, and his speed suddenly increased, and he instantly dodged Raiden's 100,000 volts. God bird smash. A layer of light blue light appeared on Articuno's body, and he attacked Raiden at a faster speed. Raiden, don't panic, wait for him to come over, then use lightning flash, and jump onto the wall. Raiden's expression was indifferent. When Articuno attacked quickly, he quickly jumped, turned into a blue light, jumped onto the wall, and used his sharp claws to grab the wall, running quickly on the wall, as if walking on flat ground. On the contrary, Articuno was too fast to stop, and crashed into the wall, showing a painful expression. There is such a thing. Zahu was stunned for a moment. Raidenman, use 100,000 volts. Dara said. Raidenman seized the rare opportunity, and when Articuno was still dizzy, a powerful 100,000 volts burst out and hit Articuno head on, causing Articuno to scream in pain. Wow, the electric type is good for flying. This time Articuno is seriously injured. Meow. Meow meow worriedly said. Yes, this battle factory is so powerful that it can even let Pokémon run on the wall. Kajiro also exclaimed. This is the strength of Dara. Although Raidenman is fast, it is difficult to hit Articuno. However, in a Pokémon battle, if you want to win, you must attack and defend each other, and Zahu's attack will have flaws. Yashida said proudly. In that case, boss, I might lose, and my bonus will be deducted. Meow. Meow meow worriedly said. Don't worry, Zahu's strength is far more than this. Using the environment itself is what he is best at, but this Articuno seems to be not yet an adult, which is a pity, otherwise it wouldn't be so uncomfortable. Kona said. Articuno, freezing ray. Zahu ignored the talk of these people. He was in full battle, and only fighting was in his mind. When Articuno heard the command, it flapped its wings and flew into the sky, and the light blue freezing ray in its mouth attacked Raidenman. Raidenman, jump onto the wall and get out of the way. Raidenman jumped up and dodged the freezing ray, jumped onto the wall again, and ran very fast on the wall, which was a few points faster than on the ground. Raidenman, with a flash of lightning, jump onto the back of Articuno. Raidenman ran very fast again, and then pounced directly on Articuno from a high place. Articuno, move at high speed. Zahu said with a sharp look in his eyes. If he wanted to compete with flying Pokémon in speed, Raidenman was not good enough. It's really powerful, but even so, it still can't beat my Raidenman. Dara said confidently, and saw that Raidenman, who missed the first attack, did not fall to the ground, and was not hurt, but immediately ran again. Then let's compare physical strength, and see whether my Articuno runs out of power first or your Raycounter is struck by thunder first. Articuno uses freezing ray on Raycounter until it hits. Articuno sprays freezing ray again and attacks Raycounter. Raycounter runs fast on the wall, and freezing ray chases it all the way, forming layers of frost on the wall. Is that all? Zahu, as a trainer with Articuno, your strength should not be limited to this. Dara seemed very dissatisfied with Zahu's strength, shook his head and said, Raycounter jumps again, and then uses thunder to finish off Articuno. Really? Zahu was not anxious when he heard the thunder, but instead showed a strange smile. Dara suddenly felt something was wrong and saw that when Raikkouna jumped to the other side of the wall, it stepped on the ice layer, lacking strength. Although it did not fall, it did not jump up, but slid down instead. Articuno, use the divine bird again. Articuno flew quickly, a faint blue light flashing, and accurately hit the immobilized Raidenman, knocking him away. Give him the final blow with your steel wings. Silver-white light appeared on both sides of Articuno's wings, and it suddenly flew over Raidenman, then chopped him down with a powerful blow, smashing Raidenman heavily into the ground, and finally his eyes turned into circles. Raidenman has lost his ability to fight, and the winner is Zahoo from Pallet Town. The referee announced the result decisively. Hearing his victory, Articuno excitedly flew into the sky, rubbing his head against Zahoo intimately. Thanks to the book friends for the reward. This is the first reward for this book, and I will add one more chapter. Chapter 36 Zahoo is ready to die. 1. The boss won. I told you that with the boss's strength, he can definitely win. Meow. Meow meow said excitedly. It turns out that the purpose of using the freezing ray at the beginning was not to hit the Thunder Beast, but to block the Thunder Beast's ability to move, and then use the Sacred Bird and Steel Wings to defeat it in one fell swoop. It seems that this boy really has the possibility of dominating the battle frontier. Miss Kona, you recommended a good candidate. Yashida also sighed. That's right, my brother, naturally outstanding. Kona said proudly. Dara sighed, took back the Thunder Beast, and said to Zahoo, as expected of someone who owns a legendary Pokémon, I lost convincingly. This is a symbol of your victory over me. Dara handed the proof of victory to Zahoo. This game also taught me a lot. I hope I can have a chance to compete with you next time. Zahoo smiled and accepted the symbol. If there is a chance, I will definitely not refuse. There is also a box here that is specially used to store the proof of winning the battle frontier. I will give it to you as well. Dara said. Thank you. Zahoo took the box and said. After a fair and pleasant game, it was getting dark, and Zahoo and his group did not leave, but chose to stay here, planning to leave tomorrow. The bright moonlight sprinkled on the earth, and the forest was quiet and peaceful. Kona lazily lay on the balcony lounge chair, listening to the sounds around her. This is her usual habit. She likes to listen to nature. But tonight is obviously not a particularly good time, because someone flew directly over and lay on the lounge chair next to Kona. Kona didn't even open her eyes, but the corners of her mouth slightly raised her charming arc and said, "Didn't you say you didn't know me? Why are you here? The scenery here is good, so I came to see it." Zahoo said indifferently, "The lounge chair is ready for me. I don't come. It's not sorry for you. Don't come on. What are your plans next? The next battle arena is near Jinhuang City. Do you want to challenge Nance's super gym by the way?" Kona said. "Even if I want to challenge a gym, I won't be idle and rush to challenge Nancy. It's faster to take the Pokémon test directly." "What about you?" Zahoo said. "Me. It's the same old routine, running around all day, but I have to go to the Pokémon Academy for a lecture recently." Kona said. "Which Pokémon Research Academy?" Zahoo said. "The Yuto family's academy." Kona said. "Well, then aren't we just on the same route? Can we go together and walk for a while?" Zahoo's eyes lit up. "Yeah." Kona pretended to be calm, thinking, "Little fool, if I didn't want to find a reason to go with you for a while, why would I agree to go to that lecture? So, Sister Kona, you are free recently, can you do me a favor?" Zahoo asked. "Why are you being polite to me? If you have something to say, just say it directly." Kona said. "I have an idea to commit suicide. I didn't plan to do it, but I just captured Articuno and met Sister Kona, so I wanted to commit suicide." Zahoo said. HMM. Hearing Zahoo mention the word suicidal, Kona could no longer remain calm. She quickly opened her eyes and stared at Zahoo. Every time Zahoo said these two words, he was really suicidal, and each time he said these two words, he was really suicidal, and each time he said these two words, he ran to Yanmo City in Chengdu to find the oldest Dragonite of the Yulan family for a test, and he was almost killed by Dragonite with a destruction death ray. "Don't tell me you are going to find another Dragonite for a test?" Kona stared at Zahoo and said word by word. Ahem. Zahu coughed awkwardly twice. Sister Kona is really smart. She guessed it was Dragonite. Dragonite? Which one is it? As long as it's not the one in Yanmo City, it's easy to say. Kona said. No, but it's at least one level stronger than the one in Yanmo City. Zahu smiled embarrassedly. It's one level stronger. How is that possible? The Dragonite in Yanmo City was left by the ancestors of the Yulan clan. Its strength has reached the level of a divine beast in the general sense. Even if I have the ice type restraint, I'm no match for it. How can there be a stronger one? Kona was shocked. That is a Dragonite. That is 10 times larger than a normal Dragonite. Zahu whispered. That's right. Zahu was talking about the huge Dragonite in Zenghu Lighthouse. Originally, Zahu would never dare to provoke a weak person, but after he subdued Articuno and met Kona, he became bolder. Young man, if you don't try, how do you know whether it is a suicidal or adventurous thing? 10 times? Stay away from it, don't seek death. Kona said seriously. But Sister Kona, that's a Dragonite that's 10 times bigger than a normal Dragonite. How great would it be if we could capture it successfully? And even if it's 10 times bigger, it's still a Dragonite. If we all attack together, we may be able to defeat it. Zahu said. You said so. Kona showed a thoughtful expression. The ice type can restrain Dragonite 4 times. If several of them attack together, it is very likely, but it's 10 times bigger than a normal one, which is too outrageous. First, let me Arwath and Kajiro make a super high speed earth drill. If you can't beat it, at least you can escape. Kona thought for a while and said, before thinking about how to win, think about how to survive first. As for why we made an earth drill instead of an airplane, it's because Dragonite's flying speed is the fastest in the world. It takes 16 hours to fly around the world. It's not safe to take an airplane. No problem, I'll be ready. And, Sister Kona, don't notify doing them, otherwise even if you catch them, they won't be mine. Zahu said. Don't worry, I'll keep it a secret for you. But if it's really as strong as you say, you may not be able to catch it. And if the situation is particularly intense and there will be casualties, I will still notify others. Kona said. As one of the 4 kings of the alliance, her primary responsibility is to protect the safety of the people. If I catch it, it's lucky. If I don't catch it, it's fate. I can accept it. As for large-scale casualties, don't worry. Dragonite is gentle by nature. As long as you don't stand up, nothing will happen. And that's the Zenghu Lighthouse. There is no one else except Zenghu. Zahu said. It's the Zenghu Lighthouse. That's much better. Kona nodded. Okay, Sister Kona, don't worry. If something really happens, I will stop immediately. If it doesn't work, just notify the Alliance. If we can capture such a powerful Dragonite, the Alliance will definitely be very happy. Zahu said. That's right. Kona smiled slightly, gradually relaxed, and enjoyed the quiet night view. Zahu didn't say anything else. The two of them enjoyed the beauty of silence together. If anyone else saw this scene, they would most likely think that they were a couple in love, not siblings. Chapter 37 Actually, my mother only gave birth to me. Utopia Pokémon Research Institute. A research institute that claims to have a winning guide for Pokémon. The tuition is expensive, the facilities are complete, and the main target is boys and girls between the ages of 5 and 15. Kajiro drove to the institute with a sighing expression on his face. He was once such a student, full of youth and vitality. He looked around, looking like a wise man who had experienced many vicissitudes of life, until he saw a Pikachu fighting a Korokora, and taunted, "Who is this idiot, using an electric type Pikachu to fight a ground type Korokora? Isn't this courting death?" As soon as the voice fell, a familiar voice sounded. "Pikachu, use 100,000 volts. You are really stupid, using 100,000 volts against a ground type. Isn't this courting death?" Kajiro continued to brag. Just after he finished speaking, Zahu couldn't help but slap Kajiro on the head. Kajiro looked at Zahu in astonishment. "What did I do again? Why did you hit me? Although that guy is a bit stupid and does deserve a beating, he is my brother, so just curse him in your heart. Don't say it out loud," Zahu said. "Ah, it's Zylzy." Kajiro finally saw who it was and showed an embarrassed expression. Using Pikachu against Korokora, a battle with opposite attributes, Can you win? The opponent seems to be Yuto Sunday, the first in the beginner class. Kona looked carefully and said, 50-50, it depends on God's will. Zahu said, 50-50? Kona's eyes widened. How can this attribute be 50-50? Zahu shrugged helplessly. Can I tell you that, except facing the king and the champion, Zyozzy will have a 50-50 chance against anyone. As for that Pikachu, although it has not grown up yet, it also has a talent that defies heaven. Kona smiled and continued to watch. Because of Zahu, she also knew Zyozzy. Zyozzy left a good impression on her. Although his knowledge of Pokémon was poor and no one would believe that he was the younger brother of a doctor, his love for Pokémon was beyond imagination. As long as he experienced some battles, he would grow into an excellent trainer. In the battle, facing 100,000 volts, Cora calmly waved the bone stick in her hand to separate the lightning, and then under the command of the trainer, she domineeringly gave Pikachu a glare. Kona nodded, commanding in a proper manner. It depends on Zyozzy's performance. Under Kona's expectant eyes, Zyozzy pulled his face, made a funny face, and said to Pikachu, Pikachu, don't lose by glaring. Then Pikachu pulled his face long and glared, and walked towards Cora, and then Cora was actually startled, and finally glared at him again. Kona couldn't help but burst out laughing. Is this the true level of a 10-year-old? Zahu, you haven't trained enough. Zahu crossed his arms and said, I told you that my mother actually only has me as her child. Did you know that? Don't talk nonsense. It looks like soon you will have to encourage your brother again. Kona smiled as he looked at the Pikachu who was slapped in the face by Cora with a stick. Not necessarily, when the level is similar. Zyozzy's Pikachu has no attributes. Zahu said. No attributes? Kona was a little confused, so he stared hard, expecting some changes, and then vividly explained what it meant to be dumbfounded. Then I saw Cora's bone boomerang hit Pikachu, and then Pikachu nimbly jumped over the bone boomerang, and then quickly approached Cora, and turned Cora's skull upside down with his little hands, so that Cora couldn't see the direction, and then Zyozzy shouted, do whatever you like. So, Pikachu bit Cora's tail with his mouth, and then kept grabbing Cora with his little hands, and finally kicked it. With a group of perfect combination punches, sexy operations, Cora was KO. Seeing this scene, Kona's expression was infinitely strange, and he said to Zahu, Pikachu is an electric Pokémon, right? It should neither bite nor scratch wildly, nor fly nor strike. That Pikachu actually has both electric and fighting attributes, and is called fighting skin in the world. Zahu said seriously. Zyozzy is a very magical existence, and the Pokémon he cultivated is even more magical. Before capturing Infinite in the Sinnoh region, Ash didn't have any fighting type Pokémon. His only Infinite was given away right after it evolved. However, all of his Pokémon with 4 legs basically have fighting type skills. Bulbasaur and Bayleaf are both good at fighting. As for Hoenn's leader, Lizard King, his best move is Blade Leaf. Rather than being a grass type, it's more like a fighting type Pokémon with a grass type skin. And what's Ash's strongest main force Charizard's best move? Is it the fire type Burnout? Or a flying type skill? None of them. It's the fighting type Earth Throw. That's right, the most powerful move of a flying type fire type Pokémon is a fighting type move. Kona looked like you're kidding me. Fighting skin, what the hell? After a long while, he said, anyway, you two brothers are both monsters. Okay, go meet them. It's no fun to meet again after only 2 days of separation. Zahu smiled and walked towards Zyozzy and the others. Zyozzy, who was happy about winning against Cora, saw that his brother was there, and immediately shouted excitedly, brother, did you see it just now? I won. Yes, it's all thanks to Pikachu. Zahu smiled and touched Pikachu's head. Pikachu shouted excitedly after being praised. No way, brother, I also worked hard. Zyozzy said sullenly. Yes, you and Pikachu have a good relationship, and you can make Pikachu work hard for you, but it doesn't mean that your command ability is good. If it weren't for the low level of Sunday Cora, you would be the loser now. Zahu said unhappily. If you lose, you lose. I didn't expect Pikachu to win with a special move other than the electrical system. Last time, Dr. Zahu gave a lecture here. You said that the real duel of Pokémon is very different from the one on the simulator. I didn't believe it. Now I know I was wrong. Sunday came over and apologized. Lecture? Brother Zahu, have you come here to give a lecture before? Zyraksha said in surprise. Yes, since I became a doctor, all the schools in Kanto have invited me to give lectures. This kind of thing, to help the younger generation. I go to each one when I have time. Zahu smiled. It doesn't take much effort, and there is money to be made, so of course I will go. So, brother is so powerful. Zyraksha said in amazement. Yes, in comparison, someone is much inferior. Zyraksha glanced at Zyraksha and said. Zyraksha was petrified instantly, and the whole person seemed to have lost color. Okay, let's all go in, wait a while, and listen to Sister Kona's lecture. Zahu said. Master Kona's lecture? Zyraksha then noticed Kona standing beside her, and said with excitement and admiration, You are Master Kona, I'm Zyraksha, and I specialize in studying water Pokémon. Kona smiled and nodded. Wait a minute, come and listen to my lecture too. Chapter 38, Zenghu Lighthouse. Meeting Zyraksha and others again at the Pokémon Research Institute, Zahu had no chance to get rid of them, even if he wanted to, so he had to wait until he got to Vermilion City to get rid of Zyraksha. However, Zahu did feel a little inconvenient with Zyraksha. When he met a good Pokémon, he was embarrassed to compete with his brother. Then along the way, he really met a few good Pokémon. They were nothing else but Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle in the animation. They were Zyraksha's veteran starter Pokémon. Their combat power in the later period was more excessive than the other. Zahu was moved by them, but in the end, he naturally didn't catch any of them, and gave them to Zyraksha, who still hadn't gathered all 6 Pokémon. However, because of Zahu's joining, the plot still changed a lot. In the animation, Zyraksha subdued the leader of the Squirtle Corps, and the remaining 4 stayed in the local area to form the Squirtle Fire Department. But because of Zahu's intervention, the eldest was still captured by Zyraksha, but the remaining 4 were not left. Zyraksha and Zyanagang each wanted one, and Kajero also quickly grabbed one. The last one was given to Kona. Tell me, why didn't Zahu capture it? Squirtle boss, Jianghu Fang's Hang brother is devoted to Zyraksha. You let Zahu accept him as his subordinate. In the future, the 2 brothers will compete and release Pokémon respectively. Then Zahu's Squirtle will salute, bow, and say hello to the boss before fighting? In that case, where is Zahu's face as a brother? Give up decisively. If you want it in the future, wouldn't it be more reliable to go to the Blastoise Kingdom in the Orange Islands to catch a Squirtle? After walking and stopping along the way, the group finally arrived at the Zenghu Lighthouse. Brother, is this your destination? Dr. Zenghu, what kind of doctor is he? Is he very powerful? Zyraksha said. Of course he's awesome. Anyone who can be called a doctor is great. As for what kind of person he is, you'll know when you meet him. Zahu said with a strange expression, thinking of Zenghu's special hobby. Walking to the front of the lighthouse, Zahu communicated with Zenghu who was standing at the door. The door opened automatically, and a group of people walked in. The 3 people of Zyraksha, who came for the first time, looked around curiously. Then light suddenly burst out on the high platform, and a person high fossil helmet sat on it. What kind of Pokémon is this? Zyraksha said in surprise. This is the fossil Pokémon fossil helmet. Isn't it said to be extinct? Zyanagang was also surprised. You will find out that the fossil helmet is not extinct at all if you walk around more in the future. Besides, this thing is not a fossil helmet. Zahu looked at the fossil helmet with a strange expression and said, Zenghu, you haven't tired of your cosplay hobby yet. What cosplay? I live in the way of Pokémon and experience Pokémon with my heart. The fossil helmet on the high platform, that is, Zenghu, retorted. Putting on a Pokémon suit means living like a Pokémon? Don't be ridiculous. Besides, it's easy for you to put on the suit, but hard to take it off. Now you're sitting on it and not moving. Can't you take it off? Zahu looked like he could see through you. I know. Come up and help me quickly. The button to unlock the suit is on the back. The hand of the fossil helmet can't reach it. Zenghu said. Although he was asking for help, he obviously didn't have the attitude of asking for help. I'm really curious about how you usually survive alone. Zehu complained while going up to help Zenghu unlock the suit. I survived normally. And Zehu, I have some noodles in the kitchen. Can you make me some fried noodles? I'm a little hungry after being trapped in the suit for so long. Zenghu said. You guys treat me as a babysitter, right? Zehu looked at Zenghu with disdain, then walked to the kitchen familiarly to prepare dinner. Xiaozi, brother Zehu is very familiar with the Pokémon Research Institute and seems to be familiar with this place as well. Do you know how many places he is familiar with? Xiaoxia looked at Zehu's skilled actions and couldn't help, but secretly asked Xiaozi. This, I don't know either. Xiaozi said awkwardly. He was busy bickering with Xiaomao and didn't really observe other things. Xiaoxia had a desperate expression on her face and secretly made up her mind that she would not ask Xiaozi if she had anything in the future because it was meaningless anyway. You must be Zehu's younger brother Xiaozi. It seems that your brother really doesn't show off. Let me tell you about your brother's status in the academic world of Kanto. From here across the Silver Mountain to the end of the Johto region, all the doctors are your brother's friends. Basically, if you say that your brother is Zehu, everyone will provide you with some help for your brother's sake. Zenghu said. Is my brother Zehu, so powerful? Xiaozi and the other three looked at Zenghu in disbelief. That's right. Actually, it's not just Kanto and Chengdu. Zehu is also familiar with places like Hana and SYNOPSIS, but not as close as here. Kona said. So brother Zehu is so powerful. Xianagang said with admiration. In the academic world of Kanto, the most authoritative of the older generation is Professor Oak, and the leader of the younger generation is your brother Zehu. Speaking of which, he is obviously my junior, but now he is better than me in research, and he is too comprehensive, from fairy attributes, to Pokémon evolution, to the harmonious coexistence of humans and Pokémon, and finally studying ancient Pokémon. Zenghu complained. That's because you study that mysterious Pokémon all day and almost fail to complete the requirements set by the League every year. Zehu's voice sounded from the kitchen. That is a unique Pokémon. Even if I have to wait for 10 years, I will wait for it. Zenghu said excitedly. This planet was formed about 4.6 billion years ago. There are 150 known Pokémon in the Kanto region, but there are countless unknown Pokémon. As researchers, our mission is to study them out. Unique Pokémon? Xiaozi asked curiously. Yes, a unique Pokémon. You are a trainer and need to capture more Pokémon, and I will wait for that Pokémon. Zenghu said with enthusiasm in his eyes. Yes, let's move forward together for each other's goals. I want to capture more Pokémon and surpass Xiaomao. Xiaozi said passionately. Xiaozi, shut up right there. You are a Pokémon trainer, not a breeder. Can you take care of so many Pokémon? When the time comes, you will love the new ones and ignore the old ones and hurt the Pokémon. What will be the result? Have you thought about it? Remember, for most Pokémon, the trainer is everything to them. Xiaomao is calmer and more knowledgeable than you. If you can have half of Xiaomao's knowledge, you are now an elite level trainer. But don't learn anything from him about catching Pokémon. Zehu came out with a bowl of fried noodles. Is that so? Xiaozi said embarrassedly. What do you think? Xiaomao has now caught 45 Pokémon. He caught so many Pokémon at once. Not to mention the duplicates. Just say Pokémon like Rattata. Xiaomao is afraid that he will never use it twice in his life. Zehu said. Brother, but didn't you say that there are no weak Pokémon, only weak Pokémon trainers? Xiaozi said. That's right. As long as the trainer trains well enough and devotes enough resources, even a seemingly weak Pokémon will have extraordinary combat power. There was once a trainer who used Eradicate to kill a Banjara with his fatal front fangs. But this was because that Raticate had been with him since he was a child and he invested countless resources. In fact, most trainers want to be quick, and when there are Pokémon with better qualifications, they usually won't train ordinary Pokémon. As for you, I think you can let everything go except Pikachu. Zehu said. Pikachu shouted excitedly. What Pokémon is Dr. Zenghu talking about? It's on the beach. Is it a water Pokémon? Xiaoxia asked. I don't know. It's a unique and huge Pokémon, probably the largest Pokémon in the world. Zenghu took the fried noodles from Zehu and ate them quickly. After 3 or 5 bites, He walked out the door and said, no one has really seen that Pokémon, but what is known is that the Pokémon is wandering around the world in search of its companions. Doesn't that Pokémon have any family or lover? Zyraksha said. It's wandering because it doesn't have any. Zenghu said. Zenghu, don't be so arbitrary. If you don't know, how do you know it doesn't exist? If it doesn't exist, then it won't be searched. It can only be said to be lost. Zenghu said. That's right. Anyway, it was a very magical Pokémon. One day, I heard a strange sound from across the sea. My first feeling was I miss you so much, I miss you so much. So I built this lighthouse, recorded the sound and spread it back, and then on a foggy day, I heard it again, which should mean I want to see you. I want to see you. So I'm sure that on a foggy day, he will come to see this lost companion. Zenghu said. Do you want to capture it? Zyros asked. Why capture it? I just want to see it. As long as I see it, it is equivalent to knowing the whole world. Zenghu said. But, Zenghu, I want to say, have you considered the thoughts of that mysterious Pokémon? If it were me, I found a companion in a world, and then found that someone deceived me, I would kill him mercilessly. Zenghu said. Would I? I didn't want to deceive him. Zenghu said after realizing it. But you did such a thing. Zenghu shrugged. Boss, there's a big dark shadow over there. Kajiro suddenly shouted. Chapter 39. Super Ancient Dragonite. It's coming. It's really coming. Zenghu looked at the approaching black shadow excitedly. He had waited for this huge Pokémon for who knows how many years, and now he finally got it. Zenghu subconsciously touched his Pokéball and looked at Kona again. Kona nodded slightly. She brought all the ice-type Pokémon around her. I'm looking forward to it. What kind of Pokémon will it be? It would be great if it's a water type. Zyraksha said with anticipation. Zenghu shook his head in disbelief. Zyraksha's water type control was hopeless. His eyes were fixed on the huge black shadow in the white mist. It gradually approached and finally revealed its true face in front of everyone. A huge Dragonite with black stripes all over its body. This is Dragonite, Zenghu said in surprise. He thought of all kinds of possibilities, but he didn't expect that the Pokémon he had been waiting for was Dragonite. Dragonite, what is it? Zyros didn't know how to open the Pokémon guide when he encountered something. Dragonite, a huge Pokémon, is the fastest known Pokémon. It can fly around the world in about 16 hours. If it finds a ship in distress in a storm, it will guide it to the kind Pokémon on the land. The mechanical sound of the illustrated book sounded, educating a group of people. Why is the fastest flying Pokémon so big? And it's different from the illustrated book. Why does it have so many black stripes, brother? Zyros asked Zenghu, but found that his brother's expression was very strange at this time, as if he was afraid. When Zenghu saw the black stripes on Dragonite, his expression was extremely rich, and he even forgot to release Articuno. The feeling in his heart was, damn, what the hell? Looking at the messy black stripes on Dragonite, he guessed the identity of Dragonite, a super ancient Pokémon. What's wrong with Zenghu? Kona looked at Zenghu's actions and said strangely, Sister Kona, be steady. If this Dragonite doesn't get mad, we should be steady and don't do anything. We can't afford to offend it. Zenghu's forehead was covered with cold sweat. How could I forget that in the animation, there are only 3 super ancient Pokémon with such a large body, apart from the legendary beast and this Dragonite that didn't appear, so the probability that this Dragonite is a super ancient Pokémon is very high. Is it so powerful, just because it is big? Do you know its origin? Kona asked curiously. I don't know much, but this stripe, 9 out of 10 times it is a super ancient Pokémon. Zenghu laughed bitterly. Super ancient Pokémon? That was studied by White, right? By the way, I remember White asked you, is this kind of Pokémon very strong? Zenghu asked. Let me tell you this, a super ancient Jenga and a super ancient Alakazam fighting can destroy half of the world, or even destroy a civilization. How strong do you think the super ancient Dragonite will be? Zenghu laughed. Destroy a civilization. Zenghu swallowed his saliva and realized that he seemed to have done something stupid. Zenghu was extremely nervous, while the ancient Dragonite came over with an expectant look on its face, as if it was eager to find its companions. However, when it saw that Zahu and his companions were the only ones around, the expression on its face froze immediately, and then it called out a few more times. When it found that the sound was actually made by a machine, it immediately changed from being kind to being fierce, with a golden wave flashing in its mouth. Destruction Ray. Zahu's eyes widened, and he released Articuno without thinking. Articuno. Freezing Ray. Articuno had just been released from the Pokémon Ball, and was about to fly in the sky, but when it saw such a big Dragonite in front of it, it was immediately startled. Fortunately, Zahu's order was issued, and it quickly shot out a freezing ray, freezing Dragonite's mouth, and the destruction ray exploded in Dragonite's mouth, and the whole thing fell backwards. It seems that we can't even think about fighting. Zenghu, Kajiro, you take Zyozzy and the other 3 and go first. Sister Kona, release all the Pokémon. One-on-one fights are absolutely not possible. Group fights, decisive group fights, not to conquer, at least drive them away. Zahu said. Brother, I can help too. Zyozzy volunteered. Shut up, before you evolve your Charmander into Charizard, if you encountered Dragonite, let alone this big one, even if it's normal size, run as far away as you can. Zahu scolded angrily, and then asked Kajiro and Masahiro to drag Zyozzy away. Sister Kona, prepare to notify super ancient Pokémon, this big, with the strength of a first level adult beast, gather the power of the alliance, and add mechanical fighting. Zahu said. I want to, but we have to carry it first. Kona threw out all her Pokémon. Dragonite, Ice Ninetales, Slow Hippo, Hippoking, Metal Shell, Sister Lip, White Sea Lion, Alala Sandslash, Long-Haired Pig. 9 Pokémon all came out. Everyone used freezing rays on Dragonite. The 9 Pokémon sprayed ice blue rays at Dragonite together, and the sea quickly froze, and even though Dragonite was extremely huge, it also froze Dragonite's feet. Raw. Dragonite, who was hurt by his own attack, stood up quickly, but was attacked again. His anger reached its limit. He roared, and the 2 tentacles on his head flashed yellow light. Then, the dark sky changed again, with lightning and thunder, and heavy rain. Then, with a loud bang, a huge electric current dozens of meters long fell from the sky and hit the sea level. Except for the ground type Longhorpig, all of Kona's 9 Pokémon lost their combat power, and turned into circles. Kona's face changed drastically. The ice type restrains the dragon type and the flying type, but more than half of the 9 Pokémon in her hand are water types. Come back, Pokémon. Kona took back all 8 Pokémon. Zahu, you really did yourself a disservice this time. Kona said. I didn't expect it to be so strong, but the more important thing is that Zenghu is courting death. Why did you lie to a simple big guy? Now that he's angry, you're a coward. Zahu said with a bitter face, calmly commanding Articuno to fly around Dragonite at high speed, surviving in front of him. Zyozzy and his group who had already escaped to the bottom of the lighthouse saw this powerful scene, and they were all shocked, and the expressions on their faces were indescribable. What should I do? The boss seems to be unable to beat that Dragonite. Meow. Meow meow trembled. If I have been looking for a companion for many years, and then found that someone cheated me, and was beaten in advance, I would definitely fight back hard. Kajiro said weakly. My fault. Zenghu scratched his head embarrassedly. I dare not say anything. He is a Pokémon. Let's try to communicate with him. Zyozzy said boldly. Communication. You are courting death. Meow. Meow meow cried. If we don't communicate, we, my brother, and Kona will all be in trouble. Let's go. Zyozzy picked up Meowth and ran to Dragonite and said, Dragonite, stop it. We don't mean to hurt you. Even if it's Dr. Zenghu, he just wants to see you. Don't be angry anymore. Yes, yes, meow, we don't mean to hurt you. Don't hit me, meow. Meowth said in horror. Raw Dragonite shouted angrily, and was ready to attack, with golden light flashing in his mouth. Meowth struggled to escape, but Zyozzy held onto it, and didn't let go, staring at Dragonite motionlessly. Zyozzy, what are you doing? Seeing this scene, Zahu, Kona, and Zyraksha were all terrified. Zyraksha was anxious to pull Zyozzy back, but at the last moment, Dragonite's destructive death ray did not come out, and looked at Zyozzy, as if thinking about something. What's going on? Kona said in disbelief. Maybe, or maybe, there's an 80% chance that Zyles his father is not my father, but Arceus. Zehu forced a smile. He really couldn't explain this problem in normal language, but when this happened to Zyles, he felt that it was natural. This is what you said, the affinity is at the maximum level. Kona also forced himself to find an excuse. The ancient Dragonite seemed to have not heard what Zehu and Kona said, and it called a few more times. The terrified Meowth heard it clearly at this time, and immediately relaxed and said, you said that you hate others to deceive you, but you feel that Zyles is a good person. If we can help you find your companion, you won't attack us. Dragonite nodded. Companion? What is your companion like? Is it a giant Dragonite like you? Zenghu asked curiously. Dragonite called a few more times, and then Meowth translated perfectly. I don't know. Anyway, it's the same size as me, and it has black stripes on its body. Black stripes? If it's Alakazam, Jenga, and Jigglypuff, will it be okay? Zehu heard Meowth's translation, and shouted from the high platform. The super ancient Dragonite immediately turned its head, and looked at Zehu and roared, and Meowth's translation came online again. As long as it's a Pokémon the same size as him, no matter what species, it is his companion. As long as you can help him find it, he will forgive you, and give you a gift. Not now, but I can help you find it within 3 months. But then how can I find you? Otherwise, you can travel with me for a while first. Zehu used the method of coaxing. Dragonite called again, and then meowed. Boss, he doesn't believe you. He thinks you are tricking him into traveling with you and protecting you. He said he has been tricked by humans once, and he can't be tricked a second time. When you have a clue, call him here with your voice. Okay, don't worry, I won't lie to you. I never lie to Pokémon. Zehu said with a bit of disappointment. The ancient Dragonite looked at Zehu, nodded seriously, then flapped its wings and flew away. Chapter 40. Come on, Zyles. Finally they left. Zehu breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. Although he had always been sure that the giant Dragonite was powerful, he had never thought that it was so powerful. That thunder move was at least billions of volts. Next time, if something like this happens again, don't look for me. Kona also breathed a sigh of relief. She was also well informed. She had been one of the 4 kings of the league, had played in the king's tournament, and had fought against the Rockets, but she almost died just now. Sister Kona, I said I won't look for you, do you believe it? Zehu laughed. Kona rolled her eyes, and didn't believe it. Back in the Alola region, I shouldn't have saved you. I saved you, and I got into big trouble. Kona gritted her teeth in annoyance. There is no regret medicine in the world, and it is even more impossible to turn back time, so just accept your fate. Zehu said proudly. Although what happened just now was very thrilling, young people only have excitement after the thrill. Kona rolled his eyes at Zehu in annoyance, and rested on the side. The ancient Pokémon was too scary. Compared with it, Dew's Dragonite was just like a child. In front of such power, the King of Heaven was nothing. Zehu, the Pokémon you just saw, was the legendary Pokémon Articuno. Zehu and Kona were just rejoicing when Zenghu came back and looked at Zehu excitedly and said, study it for me. Get lost. When Zehu thought that this matter was almost caused by this guy, he didn't have much good attitude towards Zenghu. You still want to study my Pokémon? Get as far away as you can. We have known each other for so many years, and you broke up just for this. You are unreliable. Zenghu said. Come on, think about the compensation issue carefully. The youngest doctor in the league, the most beautiful king of heaven, the only talking Meowth in the world, a mythical beast Articuno, and 4 energetic young people almost died because of you. Talk to me about the compensation issue. If you don't satisfy us, I will take your lighthouse. Zehu said. The lighthouse belongs to the Alliance, you can't take it away. Zenghu shrugged, but when he saw Zehu's unfriendly look, he remembered that it seemed to be the reason for his own death. So he smiled awkwardly. According to what you said, I can't afford to pay for it, even if I buy it. This place is not far from Lanprachi. I will pay for you to go to the beach for a vacation as an apology. How about it? As expected, the richer you are, the stingier you are. It's impossible to expect you to really give any compensation, but it's a deal. You pay for the car and boat fare. Zehu looked at Zenghu and said, no problem, but do you want me to study this Articuno? Zenghu said with his eyes shining. One night, leave tomorrow, and study it tonight. But if you anger Articuno and freeze into ice, it has nothing to do with me. Zehu said. Absolutely no problem. If I had known that you would have a divine beast, as soon as you go out, the Alliance should have given you a doctorate degree and let you go out. I wouldn't have this good thing. Zenghu said. I left early, and you didn't support me. Besides, it takes strength to capture a mythical beast, okay? This ancient Dragonite is much stronger than my Articuno. Who told you that you couldn't capture it? Zehu said. Don't provoke me. Zenghu glared at Zehu, and then went to study Articuno happily. Brother, are you okay? Zyozzy rushed over and said. It's okay. Are you still worried about me? I'm worried about you. You actually ran in front of Dragonite and almost sprayed him to death. Fortunately, Dragonite has a brain. If it was the ancient Jenga and the ancient Alakazam, you should stay as far away as you can. If you dare to act recklessly, I will not recognize you as my brother. Zehu said. Yes, meow, you drag me along. Meow meow said aggrievedly. I was impulsive at the time, and didn't think much. Pay attention next time. Zyozzy said embarrassedly. Okay, children are impulsive sometimes. Besides, if it wasn't for Zyozzy, this matter could not be solved so well. Kona said. That's because he's lucky, but not every time he's lucky. Zehu couldn't help but say a few more words, and when he was almost done, he ended with a sense of unfulfilled desire, looking at Zyozzy who was hanging his head, and said, okay, don't be depressed. Zenghu will treat us to a free trip to the Blue Prachi beach, and we'll have a good time then. Blue Prachi. Upon hearing this news, not only did Zyozzy raise his head, but even Zyadagang, Zyuksha, Zyachiro, and Meowth showed excited expressions. Blue sky and white clouds, sea and beach, surfing and swimming. The more you think about it, the more exciting it is. From here to Blue Prachi, the fastest way is to take a ship. Since we've already blackmailed Zenghu, why don't we go to Vermilion Town and take the Saint Nun, which will make it easier for Zyozzy to challenge the Vermilion Gym. Zyachiro said. He has become familiar with these doctors over the years, so if he can blackmail, he will never show mercy. Street Ann. That's the most luxurious cruise ship. When I was a kid, I even built a model of the Saint Anne. Can we really take it? Zyuksha asked expectantly. Street Ann. No, we can't make this ship. Let's take another one. Zehu frowned. Why can't we take it? Boss, you can't save money for Zenghu. Kajiro said. If you want to take it halfway, and the ship is destroyed and everyone dies, I will pay for you to take it alone. Zehu forced a smile. The ship is destroyed and everyone dies. What's going on? Hasn't the Saint Anne always been in good condition? Meow. Meow meow said curiously. That's under normal circumstances. In reality, if you take this ship now, you will encounter the largest underground organization in Kanto. Zehu said. Team Rocket? Where did you get the news? Kona asked. Keep it a secret. Don't worry, he's not a powerful person. Nothing will happen to him. Zehu said calmly. In the original plot, no one died. Only Zyozzy's trio and the Rocket Team's trio of 6 people were missing. Those passers-by really maximumed out their self-preservation skills. As for why Zehu didn't go himself, isn't that nonsense? Even if he knew there was no danger, why would Zehu be so idle to build a ship that would sink with an 80% chance of sinking? He also had to go against the Rocket Team, the largest underground organization in Kanto. He didn't have the brains to do that. I'd better call Shiba. Kona thought about it, and still said worriedly. Okay. Zehu said. Then brother, which ship should we take? Zyozzy said. Whatever, the scenery along the way is secondary. The main thing is the destination. Zehu said indifferently. That's right. Zyozzy nodded. That's right, brother. Can you have a Pokémon battle with me? 6-6. Zehu looked at Zyozzy's passionate look, which was hard to describe. The others also had an expression of confidence. Zehu took out the Pokémon ball of Togekiss from his waist and released Togekiss. Togekiss, use the wave missile at the sea surface with the greatest force. Zehu ordered calmly. Togekiss flew gracefully in the sky first with pleasure, and then a wave missile condensed on its chest and quickly fell into the sea surface. The originally calm sea surface instantly erupted into a huge and amazing tsunami, and a huge wave of more than 10 meters was lifted up. Zyozzy was stunned for a moment. Is this brother's strength? Unless one day you can make your Pokémon have this strength, don't challenge me. Pikachu is so cute, don't abuse him, okay? Zahu said seriously. Pikachu showed an excited expression on his face, and jumped from Zyozzy's shoulder to Zahu's shoulder. Pikachu, even you ignore me. Zyozzy looked aggrieved. Even Pikachu dislikes you, reflect on yourself. Train Pokémon for me well, don't start training after you lose every time, otherwise, I will say sorry to you. You will not be called Zyozzy in the future, but Zahu's younger brother. Zahu said. Brother, don't worry, I will become stronger. Zyozzy clenched his fists and said, I will take you to the Deadleaf Gym first, and after you finish the challenge, we will go to Blue Prachi City together. After that, we will break up there. I will go directly to Golden City and Lavender Town. Basically we will not go the same way, and then if we meet again, it will be at home. Don't let me down then. Zahu said. Brother, there is also a gym in Golden City, we can still walk a distance. Zyozzy said. You'd better bypass the gym in Golden City and find another one, but if you really can't let it go, you can also challenge your limit. Anyway, you are lucky. But even so, I won't go with you. I'm not young anymore. Travel by myself. Zahu said. Okay, brother, when we meet at home, I will let you see my growth. Zyozzy said firmly. I look forward to your performance. Zahu smiled. Zyozzy has a strong bond that allows his Pokémon to fight with all their strength and a flash of inspiration in battle operations. If he can learn Pokémon battle knowledge well under his own supervision, his future achievements are worth looking forward to. Thank you, dare you fight me. Country kids are the most happy, drinking wine on the moon, woo me, all of you for your awards. Then let me talk about the rules for adding more chapters. It seems that all the big guys want to add more chapters, but the monk himself has things to do. Recently, I'm preparing for the civil service exam. At the beginning, I just wrote it, because I reviewed my childhood on Station B, and then I couldn't control my hands all of a sudden, so I wrote this book. Unexpectedly, everyone likes it very much. Let's do this. If the collection or recommendation exceeds 1000, the monk will add one more chapter. Now the collection is more than 2900, and it should exceed 3000 tomorrow. This chapter is just an extra chapter. If there are 3 chapters every day, the monk can't code it. The other thing is rewards. We all work for a living. If you guys like it, and are willing to give, I will update more, if you give more. However, there is no rule for this, because I have no idea. Anyway, if you like it, just vote for it. Finally, I don't seem to have asked for votes so far, so I'll just throw a tantrum, and ask for collections and recommendations. Chapter 41, Lamprachi's Holiday. Lamprachi City, we are finally here. Looking at the golden beach, white waves, and bikini beauties, Zyozzy, Zyadagang, and Zyajiro shouted excitedly. Zahu looked ashamed to see people. After the vacation here, everyone will break up. They must break up. Otherwise, he will be ashamed to see people with the 3 guys. Looking at Zyajiro who was still excited, Zahu had an idea in his mind. Should he just throw this guy away? It seems that he is useless except for getting angry with me Meowth. Just when Zahu was still thinking about whether to leave Zyajiro behind, Zyozzy, Zyadagang, and Zyajiro had already taken off their clothes except for a pair of swimming trunks, and jumped into the sea. Even Pikachu and Meowth followed them with a swimming ring. As for Zyraksha, who is known as the lively mermaid, it goes without saying that her dressing speed is faster than Zyozzy and the other 2. She changes her swimsuit almost every second, and I don't know where she found a volleyball. Then Zyozzy, Zyadagang, and Kajiro were stunned. Zahu was stunned, not because he was intoxicated by Zyraksha's appearance. Although Zyraksha is actually very cute, especially when she has long hair in the water, she looks even better. If she is not violent and often expressive, her appearance will not be ignored, but it is not his taste. He was surprised that Zyozzy and the other 2 were stunned. You should know that these three people's taste is not a little girl like Xiaoxia. Xiaogang, needless to say, mature big sisters. No matter what the appearance, mature big sisters are fine. Kochiro, at this age, also likes people of the same age. As for Xiaozi, as his brother, Zahu still doesn't know whether he has a love line. Combined with the animation, he thinks his brother is a wooden man. How could he be stunned by Xiaoxia? Let alone Zahu. Xiaoxia herself was also confused, so she just asked. Then, Xiaozi stared at Xiaoxia and said seriously, I was thinking, Xiaoxia, you are a girl. Zahu almost rolled his eyes when he heard this. Well, you are still my brother, destined to be alone forever. Forever wouldn't Zhi. Nonsense. Upon hearing what Xiaozi said, Xiaoxia became furious the next second and threw a volleyball at Xiaozi, knocking him into the water. Alas. Zahu sighed. I guess I won't be able to find a brother's wife in this life. Xiaozi is only 10 years old. Why do you think so much? Kona said with a smile. You are an adult at the age of 10, okay? And you should start picking up girls when you are 10 years old. I'm a role model. From the age of 10, your future wife will be settled. Zahu said proudly. You will be settled at the age of 10. Where is it? Kona looked at Zahu and asked knowingly. You will know later. By the way, Sister Kona, we met for the first time on the beach, right? Zahu said. Yes, you were a little kid back then, and now you have become a big kid. Kona said with a smile, walked to the side, rented a lounge chair, and lay down directly. Zahu simply changed into a pair of swimming trunks, and then lay down beside Kona and said, Sister Kona, aren't you going to change into a swimsuit? Why, do you want to see? Kona's eyes showed a playful smile. No way, aren't we all at the beach, swimming together? Zahu said with a wry smile. If it was before, it would be great, but now I'm one of the 4 heavenly kings. I guess as soon as I go out, these people will keep a close eye on me. Being one of the 4 heavenly kings doesn't mean I have any freedom. Kona said. That's right, let's wait until we get to the Orange Islands, your villa. Zahu said with a laugh. Then I can see it by myself, it's beautiful. Kona smiled and said nothing more. She lay comfortably on the lounge chair. She was born in the Orange Islands. This kind of beach, sunshine, and waves are what she is most familiar with and likes the most. Do you mind if I lie down next to you? At this time, a gentle voice sounded. Zahu was startled. This voice was a little familiar. He looked up quickly and saw a beautiful face looking at him gently. He said excitedly, Mom, why are you here? The community is holding an event. Your mother and I are traveling together. The key is that I also want to find you. Zenghu told me that you have captured Articuno. Show it to me. You, a student, captured a legendary beast, but you didn't study it for me first, but let outsiders study it. You are so bold. Professor Oak also popped up and said, isn't this because you are busy? In addition, teacher, where is my ghastly? Zahu said. It has been sent to the research institute, but I didn't bring it here this time. It is still in the research institute. I will transfer it to you when I go back. Professor Oak said. If you are free, transfer it. If you are not free, you can wait. I have to challenge the battle frontier now, and I don't have much time to train him. I will bring him back after I challenge the battle frontier and challenge the Quartz Alliance. Zahu said. Wait until we challenge the Quartz League. You are too ambitious. There will be many experts at that time. You will not be afraid of losing the game if you use the Pokémon you just got and have not trained yet. Professor Oak said. There will be many experts. Teacher, I have watched every Quartz conference over the years. The level of the players is getting worse every year. I'm not bragging, but even if I only use 1 Ninetales, I can still make it to the top 16. It is just right to practice with a few. Zahu said with disdain. Others don't know the level of this Quartz conference, but he doesn't know it. In the original book, Xiaozi, who can't even control Charizard, made it to the top 16 with almost no main pet. If Team Rocket didn't mess up, he could even make it to the top 8. What do you think is the value of this competition? He even suspected that this Quartz conference was the worst Quartz conference in history. That's right. Your command level is not inferior to your research level. Then I will give it to you when I'm free. Professor Oak thought about it and said no more. Okay, as for Articuno, teacher, you can just study it tonight. After today, I'm sorry, I will take Articuno to the battle arena tomorrow. Zahu said. Grandpa, Aunt Hanako, Brother Zahu. At this time, another familiar voice sounded. Zahu turned his head and saw who it was. His expression suddenly became happy. What kind of day is today? Why are familiar people coming out one after another? Xiaomao, you are here too. Dr. Oak smiled. Yes, Grandpa, I passed by here and brought my girlfriends here for vacation. Xiaomao smiled. Xiaomao is great. Xiaomao just finished speaking, and the 6 girlfriends in bikinis behind Xiaomao cheered loudly like a repeater. Zahu glanced at the 6 people, then at Xiaomao, and for the first time in his life, he felt a little envious and jealous. Although the quality of these 6 women was uneven, most of them were just average beauties, but driving a convertible and traveling with 6 beauties was so cool. Then he looked at himself, who only had a bad friend and a bad cat. He finally had a beautiful big sister, but she was leaving tonight. Brother Zahu, how many gym badges have you got? I have already got 4 gym badges. Xiaomao looked at Zahu with great interest. He and Zahu had been in the same research institute for a long time, and they had a good relationship. He also took Zahu as his goal. 4 gym badges? That's more than me. I only have 2. Zahu smiled. In addition to the Nabi gym, he also had a badge from Masashi when he accompanied Xiaozi to the Deadleaf gym last time. Only 2? How is that possible? Brother Zahu, your strength shouldn't be so weak. The gyms in Kanto are very weak. Xiaomao said in surprise. That's your brother. I don't plan to challenge the gym to participate in the Quartz conference, but plan to take the Pokémon certification exam to join the league. Your brother, I want to challenge the more difficult Battle Frontier. Zahu said. Battle Frontier? What is this? Is it very difficult? Can I challenge it too? Xiaomao asked curiously. The Battle Frontier is a place where powerful trainers from all over the world gather to challenge powerful trainers. Each battle leader is not a simple character. Basically, they are equivalent to the level of the strongest gym trainer in each region. And unlike gym trainers who will choose the battle lineup according to the strength of the challenger, and even let the opponent win to a certain extent, the battle leader will not let the opponent win. Zahu said. Gym trainers will let the opponent win? Then are the games I won all because of the gym owner letting the opponent win? Xiaomao looked at Zahu in surprise. Yeah, otherwise how could those novices challenge you? But you don't have to doubt yourself too much. In the Kanto gym, even if they didn't let you down, there are only 4 who can beat you. You can easily beat the other 10, especially the one from Cerulean City, who really didn't let you down. Zahu said. Then can I also take some time to challenge the Battle Frontier area? Xiaomao said. Don't think too much. If you don't have the level of the top 4 in the tournament, you can't even beat the first battle facility. Zahu said. Then, Brother Zahu, let's have a match. Xiaomao issued a challenge. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Zahu vs Xiaomao. You want to fight me? Compare your Pokémon that you just captured 2 months ago with the Pokémon that I have cultivated for more than 4 years. Do you want to experience being beaten 6 by 1? Zahu said with a troubled expression. Brother Zahu, don't underestimate me. I'm very strong. And Brother Zahu, if you don't want to bully me, you can use the Pokémon you just captured. Xiaomao said. I just captured 1 Pokémon, but do you want to kill that one? Zahu looked at Xiaomao and said. Xiaomao also grew up under his watch. In his heart, there is no difference between him and Xiaozi, so he couldn't bear to beat Xiaomao. No matter how powerful it is, I will try. Brother Zahu, I will let you see my growth. Xiaomao said seriously. Okay. Zahu nodded, thinking that giving Xiaomao a defeat would also be good for Xiaomao. Xiaomao and Xiaozi are a pair of strong rivals. According to normal logic, the personalities of these 2 people should be completely opposite. Many people also have this illusion. But in fact, before the failure of the Quartz Conference, Xiaomao and ZHI had a 90% similarity in personality. Both were overconfident and needed frustration education, but Xiaomao was more knowledgeable than ZHI and had a grandfather who was a doctor, and his Pokémon skills were stronger than ZHI. It was not until the Quartz Conference that Xiaomao was awakened, when he did not even make it to the top 16. Then he gave up sports cars, gave up beautiful women, changed his exaggerated style, traveled alone, and gradually became mature and rational. Compared with the early days, he was completely two different people. In the end, he gave up challenging the Alliance and became a researcher, which was even more mature. Come out, Articuno. Zahu threw the Pokémon ball like a marble. Articuno's wings vibrated and flew gracefully in the sky, attracting countless people's attention as usual. Articuno. Xiaomao stuttered. Brother Zahu, is this the only Pokémon you have captured? Of course, do you think I'm you? I capture all Pokémon. Either they are compatible, or they are powerful. If they do not meet these two criteria, I will not capture them. On the contrary, you have captured 45 kinds of Pokémon now, right? You have captured several of them repeatedly. I want to ask you, how many of these Pokémon can you use? Are there half of them that you can still use now? Zahu asked back. But I'm not satisfied to see Pokémon that I have not captured. You know, I have wanted to travel since I was a child. I have seen many Pokémon, but none of them belong to me. Now that I can capture them myself, I want to collect the Pokémon illustrated book. Xiaomao said. Okay, you are just too frustrated. Okay, let's duel. Let's duel privately. There is no need for a referee. It's 6-6. You attack first. Zahu said. Okay, brother Zahu, since that's the case, I won't be polite. Come out, Rumblestone. Xiaomao threw a Rumblestone and said. Rumble, not bad. It's not long since we started traveling, and we have a second form evolved Pokémon. It's pretty good. Zahu nodded and praised. Xiaomao's Rumble should be the Rumble Rock that will appear in the Johto Conference in the future. Rock type is good against ice and flying, so it has 4 times the restraint on Zahu's Articuno. Even if it is a legendary beast, it's nothing great. Xiaomao said confidently. Rumble, use Rock Slide. Rumble beat his chest violently, and a large piece of rock fell from the sky and attacked Articuno. Better than Xiaozi, at least he can memorize the attribute restraint table, but the actual battle is not a simple game. Zahu smiled. Articuno, Ice Dance. Articuno called out, and its slender white body danced in the sky, with a faint ice glow all over its body, perfectly dodging the rock attack. It's so beautiful. Hanako exclaimed. It's very beautiful. If Zahu thinks that the gym trainer challenge is not fun, he can still challenge the gorgeous competition. Professor Oak said. Elegant and practical, it evaded an attack, and then the Rumblestone is useless. Kona asserted. Water Wave. As if to verify Kona's words, a blue ball came out of Articuno's mouth and hit Rumblestone accurately. Rumblestone immediately turned into a circle and fell directly. Rock type attacks are 4 times restrained by Articuno, but your Rumblestone's rock and ground are also 4 times restrained by water type attacks. Xiaomao. Zahu said in a doting tone. Really, now he is beating Xiaomao like an adult beating a child. But there are no pure rock types in Kanto. They are all rock type and ground type. Xiaomao took back the Rumblestone and said helplessly. Who said that? Pyroxila and Sithacap are both rock type and water type, and they are less damaged. In addition, Tyrannodon is also rock type and flying type. Zahu said. Aren't these all extinct fossil Pokémon? Xiaomao said. Silly boy, you are too naive. If you are not afraid of death, you can travel with Xiaozi for a while and you will know that extinction is fake. In addition, the technology for resurrecting fossils in the Sinnoh region has been developed, but it has not yet arrived here. However, it is only a matter of time before these fossil Pokémon are resurrected. Zahu said. Is that so? Then I will capture them when I have time. However, the competition is not over yet. Next is my second Pokémon, Growlithe. Xiaomao said. Growlithe. Zahu looked at the puppy Pokémon in front of him and couldn't help but feel a little envious. Those with the backstage are still powerful. Growlithe eventually evolved into Windy Dog, with a race value of 555. It is not a quasi-god or a legendary beast, but it is almost the highest general Pokémon. However, it is basically monopolized by the Junsha family. He can't even get one, but Xiaomao can get one when he goes out. Growlithe. Kajiro looked at Xiaomao's Growlithe, and his face was full of memories. Fire can also restrain ice. Brother Zahu, watch out. Growlithe, use Jet Flame. Xiaomao said. Growlithe opened its mouth and shot an orange flame at Articuno. Articuno, use the freezing ray and fight back head on. Although he was secretly envious, as a professional trainer, Zahu would not be distracted. Articuno obeyed the command, opened its mouth, and burst out an ice blue beam, sealing all the flames, and freezing Growlithe into ice. Next one. Zahu said lazily. Okay, Toucan, go ahead and fly in the sky. We won't be bad either. Xiaomao said. Toucan is also a home bird, but its personality is too bad, and it is not suitable for novices. And it is not as easy to train as the eagle. Zahu made a fair comment, and then said, Articuno, do your best. I'm going to have a drink first. After that, he took Kona's hand, and went to the side to drink a drink. Brother Zahu, stop yelling. The gap between your Pokémon and Zahu's Pokémon is too big. Even if the attributes are restrained, you can't win. What's more, Articuno's ice type restrains flying type. Just try your best to see if you can beat this Articuno. If you can beat it, Zahu will come back. Professor Oak said. Okay, Toucan, let's try to defeat Articuno and use the dash drill. Xiaomao said with rare enthusiasm, as if Xiaozi was possessed, but just as Toucan rushed out, Articuno's right wing flashed with silver-white light, and then hit it all at once, and Toucan fell. Hornet, spray fire, come on. Articuno followed with a water wave, and Hornet fell. Charon, big word explosion. Articuno used another water wave, and Charon fell. Beep. That's enough. Just when Xiaomao was about to send out his Pokémon, Professor Oak stopped Xiaomao and said, if you fight again, you will still be killed in one move. Calm down, Grandpa. Xiaomao looked at Professor Oak blankly. In terms of strength, your brother Zahu's Pokémon, except for Magikarp and Meowth, who have no fighting power, may only have a fairy elf that can't beat 6 of you. For the rest, all your Pokémon together can't beat one. Professor Oak said. As a former champion, although his physical strength is a little weak, and he is no longer used to fighting, his eyesight is still there. How can he be so powerful? Isn't Brother Zahu mainly focusing on research? Even if it takes a long time, it doesn't mean that he will be strong. Moreover, it takes a certain amount of time for the strength of Pokémon to grow rapidly, about 1 to 2 years. Once it reaches a certain bottleneck, it will be difficult to break through again. After all, Pokémon have a long lifespan. Brother Zahu's Pokémon has not been strengthened for at least 2 or 3 years. Xiaomao said. But 2 years ago, when your brother Zahu became a professor, he had a match with the current Dragon Master Do at the Research Institute. Snorlax vs. Gyarados, 1-1, and your brother Zahu won. Professor Oak said. Huh. Xiaomao stared. He knew that his brother Zahu was strong, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. Don't listen to the teachers bragging. In fact, Do thought I was only good at research, so he underestimated me, and I defeated him. His Dragonite was ridiculously strong. I used 3 of them to defeat him despite the attribute restraint. Zahu said. It can defeat Do's Dragonite. Xiaomao swallowed his saliva. He suddenly felt that his worldview was a little collapsed. Chapter 43 Lacey. Brother, can you come over to help? There are a large number of stinging jellyfish and agate jellyfish attacking the hotel. Early in the morning, Zahu, who had just gotten up from the bed, heard a phone call. Stinging jellyfish, agate jellyfish, attacking the human hotel in large numbers? Zahu got up from the bed, patted his head, and vaguely seemed to remember something. In the animation, there seems to be such a section, in which an extremely huge stinging jellyfish appeared. The story outline is probably about an ugly mother-in-law, who wants to make money for herself, so she destroys the ecological environment wantonly, and even destroys the nest of a group of stinging jellyfish Pokémon to build a hotel. Then the jellyfish group fights for their own nest, so they attack the hotel. warning humans, saying that we jellyfish are not easy to bully. Finally, under Zyarksha's extraordinary love for water Pokémon, the leader of the stinging jellyfish, the giant stinging jellyfish, said that this time it was just a little warning, and next time it would be a real attack, and then left. Many people who didn't watch the animation carefully defined this giant jellyfish as a Pokémon similar to the ancient Alakazam, or even the leader of the ancient Pokémon. But in fact, the reason why the stinging jellyfish became so big was because it drank the domestic 3 cups of Vinegar made by Kajiro and his 2 companions. Yes, it's these 3 again. They are omnipotent. For money, they accepted the commission and wanted to use the domestic 3 cups of Vinegar to deal with all the agate jellyfish and then sell them. As a result, they accidentally created a giant stinging jellyfish. But because of Zahu, Kajiro's 3 groups were forcibly dismantled, and there was no such thing as domestic 3 cups of Vinegar, let alone the suddenly enlarged stinging jellyfish. Then the stinging jellyfish lost its overwhelming power, so now the power is about the same, which is about the same. As a result, they are still fighting now, and the fight is very lively, and it is about to turn into a war between humans and water Pokémon. Wait, don't rush. You 3 stay still, and don't run around. I'll call Kona. She's one of the 4 kings of the Alliance, and specializes in handling similar incidents. Zahu called Kona again. Kona in another room answered the phone, and said after hearing the reason, "Okay, I'll go over right away, but a large scared attack of venomous jellyfish on humans must be a problem. You should come with me, and bring me Arwath as an interpreter." "Okay." Zahu yawned. Yesterday, everyone had a lot of fun. Zyarmeo was shocked, and Zyarzi was stimulated. They all left in the afternoon, and the few of them stayed here for one more night. As a result, they just woke up and encountered something again. It was enough. After a quick wash, he woke up Kajiro and Meowth next door, and then took the Alliance's exclusive plane with Kona, and went straight to Zyarzi. The plane was flying at high speed, and soon, it arrived at the destination. Kona saw the swarms of agate jellyfish below from a distance. Without bothering to get off the plane, he released the Dragonite and commanded, "Dragonite, use the freezing ray on the water surface." Dragonite fell to the sea surface, quickly stabilized its body, and then violently sprayed out ice lines, freezing the sea surface of dozens of meters in front of it. Even the leader stinging jellyfish was controlled, and could not move. This is the strength of the strongest main pet of the Alliance Ice King. Although he was beaten by the super ancient Dragonite before, this cannot cover up the fact that he is powerful. The people below who came for the 1 million bonus promised by Granny Silver were shocked when they saw the sea surface completely frozen like land. This is too strong. When Granny Silver, the instigator of all this, saw that the jellyfish group was finally under control, she immediately showed an excited expression, picked up 2 rocket launchers, and was about to launch them. Zahu in the sky saw this scene, frowned, and threw a Togekiss casually and said, "Togekiss, use a wave missile at the people on the ground." Togekiss' wings condensed into a wave missile, which fiercely bombarded Granny Silver, knocking her unconscious immediately. "Sister Kona, the matter is handed over to you." "Meow meow, I will lend it to you first. I will go to see Zyarzi." Zyarzi, who had known the whole story for a long time, did not intend to get involved in this matter. He found an excuse, left the plane, and strolled away by himself. "Excuse me, is that Togekiss yours just now?" Zahu had just walked a short distance alone, when a voice sounded behind him. Zahu turned his head curiously, and saw a young man about his age looking at him with a gentle smile. "Yes, please ask, who are you?" Zahu asked. "Hello, I'm Ryuji from Vale City in Sinop. I'm currently traveling to dominate the battle frontier. Can I have a Pokémon showdown with you?" Ryuji replied. Ryuji. Zahu was stunned. Many people might not be familiar with this name, but if you mention his younger brother, many people will know him. Zyarzi's biggest rival in the Sinnoh region is Shinji, who has a personality that is almost completely opposite to Zyarzi. An extremely strict and cold trainer. He will give up any Pokémon that loses in the game, and is called the embodiment of a gamer by the audience. As Shinji's brother, Ryuji is a person with a personality that is almost the opposite of Shinji. He is calm, humble, and easy to get close to. In addition, Shinji himself is also a very powerful trainer. Although he appeared as a foster family when he appeared, he is a powerful character who has challenged the 4 alliances of Kanto, Johto, Hone, and SYNOPSIS and obtained all the badges. The only problem is that his psychological quality seems to be a bit problematic. When he was fighting the last facility of the battle frontier, the battle pyramid, he was beaten into autism by the battle leader Kamade, and then he gave up traveling and became a Pokémon foster parent. From Lacey's conversation, he is now challenging the battle frontier, which is his last journey. No problem, let's find a deserted place to compete, Zahu said. Facing the challenge of the original character and the elite trainer who almost dominated the battle frontier, Zahu naturally would not refuse. As for looking for Zaozi, he would not die anyway, so there was nothing to find. Okay. Lacey nodded and walked with Zahu to an open space to release his Pokémon Mukahawk and said, "This is my Pokémon Mukahawk, a Pokémon from the Sinnoh region. You may not know it. Mukahawk, the flying Pokémon most commonly used by Sinnoh novices, the final evolution of Muka, a raptor Pokémon, with dual attributes of normal and flying, an average height of 1.2 meters, and a weight of 24.9 kilograms. Your Mukahawk is 1.4 meters tall, and has excellent training." Zahu smiled. "I forgot to make a formal introduction to you. Zahu from Pallet Town, a Pokémon trainer as the main job, but a Pokémon researcher as the secondary job. Dr. Yamanashi from the Sinnoh region is also my friend. So don't be lucky and think that I don't know Mukahawk's special moves and take advantage of it. It seems that I picked the wrong opponent, but I want to compete with your Pokémon, okay? I want to compete with flying," Lacey said. "No problem." Zahu agreed, but thought in his heart, the same attribute confrontation, enhanced strength, how can this routine be so familiar? It turns out that Shinji learned it from you. Thanks to Ajuaya and Countryside Kids, most happy for the tips. And the recommendation today should exceed 2000, and I promise to add one more chapter. Chapter 44, Invincible Kanto People. Mukahawk, you swing attack. Mukahawk flew at high speed, flapping its wings vigorously at Togekiss. Togekiss, spin attack. Facing the total, Zahu used his usual routine. Togekiss calmly dodged the wing attack of Mukahawk, and then hit Mukahawk's back hard. Mukahawk's body dropped, and immediately distanced itself from Togekiss. "Mukahawk, hold on, we will also use spin attack." Mukahawk screamed and moved at high speed. Its body appeared behind Togekiss, as if it disappeared out of thin air, and hit Togekiss back hard. Fight back. The same method, but the strength of Pokémon is different. Togekiss, hold on, spin rapidly on the spot, and use steel wings. Zahu smiled confidently. Togekiss immediately stabilized its body, and naturally spun with great skill, and then used steel wings to knock Mukahawk down hard. Pokémon, take advantage of the victory, and continue to use steel wings. The speed of Pokémon soared again, and the right wing turned into pure silver, and chased after Mukahawk. Mukahawk reacted quickly and speeded up to get away from Pokémon's attack. Lacey shouted anxiously. As if sensing the anxiety of its master, Mukahawk barely opened its eyes and sped up, barely escaping from Pokémon's attack at the critical moment. Pokémon's steel wings hit the ground hard, only stirring up thick dust and hindering itself, looking like it had received a serious injury. Mukahawk, use Brave Bird Slam to decide the outcome. Lacey clenched his fist and said. Mukahawk screamed, and a light blue light flashed on its body, and it attacked Pokémon, whose movement was hindered at this time. Pokémon, hold on. Facing the aggressive Mukahawk, Zahu remained calm. Holding on is a move that can theoretically resist any attack, and the Brave Bird Slam, like the Volt attack, is an attack that causes severe damage to the opponent, while also causing damage to itself. Upon hearing the order, Pokémon stood still, with layers of pale yellow protective barriers appearing on his body. Mukahawk rushed over aggressively, and then was strongly rebounded, further aggravating his injuries. Pokémon, Magic Flash, put an end to him, Zahu said calmly. Pokémon immediately flew up, and colorful light burst out, hitting Mukahawk accurately. Mukahawk fell to the ground, turned into a circle of eyes, and completely lost his ability to fight. I lost. Lacey took back the MK's Hawk, and said to Zahu, you are really good. You are not bad either. It's been a long time since I had such an exciting aerial battle. It's a pity that you participated in the Battle Frontier, not the Quartz Conference. Otherwise, I really want to have a 6-2-6 full-scale battle with you at the Quartz Conference. Zahu said. You participated in the Quartz Conference? Aren't you from the Kanto region? You should have participated in the Quartz Conference a long time ago. Lacey was surprised. Because I just started traveling this year. Zahu smiled. I came to travel this year. Lacey's expression changed. So, he lost to a novice? Don't make that expression. Although I guess you will be traveling for a few months. I have raised pockets for several years. I just went out now. Zahu said. Oh. Lacey nodded with relief. This is acceptable. Otherwise, what if he, who has challenged the 4 regional alliances of SYNOPSIS, Johto, and Kanto, loses to a novice who just went out? If this gets out, how can he face people? It's also unfair to those opponents who lost to him. By the way, you have already challenged the Battle Frontier, and you have several symbols. Don't lose to me. Zahu said. Didn't you challenge the Alliance? Why did you challenge the Battle Frontier again? Are you considering both? Lacey was surprised. Is there a problem? Anyway, they are all in the Kanto area, so just go there at once. Zahu said confidently. That's right, with your strength, those gyms don't require much effort at all, and the Kanto gym is really a bit weak. Lacey said. Then I guess you haven't challenged the 3 gyms of Changpon, Huangjin and Hanglian Island. Zahu said. Are these 3 very powerful? Lacey asked curiously. If you are not afraid of death, you can go to the Huangjin City gym next door, but don't blame me if you are turned into a doll. Zahu said. Turn into a doll. I'll try it when the time comes. Lacey was confused, and after thinking about it, he decided to go. Good luck. Zahu said with a suppressed smile. Since you think it's not good to live, I won't stop you. I hope you won't be beaten into autism in advance. By the way, I have a younger brother named Xiaozi, who is currently doing the Pokémon League challenge. If you meet him, please help him if you can. Zahu said. Brother? I happen to have a younger brother named Shinji, who just got our Sinnoh region's grass-type Pokémon Squirtle. He plans to come here recently to watch me challenge the Battle Frontier, and it seems that he also intends to challenge from the Kanto region. Maybe he will be your brother's opponent at that time. Lacey said. This, I can tell you for sure, he will definitely, and he will be a strong opponent. Zahu said affirmatively. So, I'm a little eager to meet your brother soon. Lacey said. You will probably like him when you meet him. You and his personality will definitely overlap more than you and your brother. Zahu said. In the original animation, when Xiaozi and Shinji had the Century Showdown, as Shinji's brother, Lacey was more worried about Xiaozi. He was a little confused at the time, wondering whose brother this is. You are so sure. Why do I feel that you are not a trainer, but a prophet? Lacey said. Prophet, let me make another prediction. Before you go to the last battle facility in the Battle Frontier, the Battle Pyramid, you'd better form your own battle style, otherwise something will happen. Zahu said. The last battle facility is the pyramid? How did you know? Don't you have to challenge the previous battle facilities before you can know the last battle facility? Lacey asked curiously. Don't worry about this. It's fate that we meet. I'll give you a free science popularization. The battle leader of the Battle Pyramid, Kamishiro, is the strongest person in the Battle Frontier. He is at least at the level of a king. He has 3 pillars in his hands, namely Regius, Regirock, and Regischilu, all of which are legendary beasts. And he gave all the trainers who came to challenge him a difficult problem, a battle style that belongs to him, a battle style that only he can play. If you can't solve this problem, you can't pass it. Zahu said. 3 legendary beasts. Lacey was shocked. If nothing else, just talking about the 3 legendary beasts is enough to shock anyone. That's right. By the way, I also have a mythical beast, Articuno. Zahu suddenly showed off evilly. Lacey staggered and almost lost his balance. Did I hear wrong? How come someone else has a mythical beast? That's a mythical beast, not a stray dog on the side of the road. Are we Sinnoh people too weak, or are they Kanto people too strong? Chapter 45, The Grievous Meow. With Meow Meow's quick translation, Kona quickly understood the cause and effect, and then without saying anything, He had Granny Silver arrested first. This world is not unique to humans, but is shared by humans and Pokémon. In countless years of evolution, humans and Pokémon have established an unbreakable relationship, so the Alliance law clearly requires that trainers cannot abuse Pokémon, and when developing buildings, they cannot destroy a large number of Pokémon gathering places. Even if development is necessary, Pokémon must be properly handled, rather than just destroying them. Granny Silver built a hotel on the coral reef without obtaining a permit from the Alliance, which was already a violation of the law. In addition, because she destroyed the coral reef, a large-scale invasion of stinging jellyfish and agate jellyfish occurred, causing serious property losses to humans. It was no surprise that she was imprisoned. According to Zahu's estimation, she would not be able to get out for more than 10 years. That's how it should be. Those who bully the cute stinging jellyfish and agate jellyfish should be locked up. Zyraksha was very happy and said excitedly. Zahu was speechless listening to this. He still couldn't understand Zyraksha's weird aesthetic, that she thought water-type Pokémon were cute. Whether it was the agate jellyfish or the stinging jellyfish, he couldn't find any cuteness in them. I won't be able to accompany you on the rest of the trip. Although the culprit has been caught, I'll be busy for a while to deal with it. You have to work hard on your own. Kona said to Zahu. Sister Kona, don't talk like a child, okay? Zahu rolled her eyes. Okay, I know you're no longer a little kid, but a big kid, but you still have to take good care of yourself. This is not just my idea, but also Aunt Anako's idea, understand? Kona said. Okay, I'll call you every time I arrive in a town from now on, okay? Zahu said. That's the best. Anyway, take care of yourself. Kona said. Don't worry, boss lady, Meow Meow will take good care of you. Meow Meow said on the side. Boss lady? Kona blushed, glanced at Zahu, and glared at Meow. Who taught you that? Isn't that the truth? Meow figured it out on her own. Is there a problem? Meow pretended to be stupid, thinking that the boss would definitely give me a raise. Wow, a sentence could increase my salary. Meow is really smart. Okay, Zahu is your boss. He calls me Sister Kona. I can be your boss lady, but we are all boss ladies. We can decide big things, so I'll deduct half of your salary this year. Kona said lightly. Deduct half. Meow immediately turned into a horrified face. Deduct half. Sister Kona, you are too gentle, just deduct all. Zahu smiled. That's the best. Kona nodded. In that case, I'll leave first. Finally, for once, you are looking at my back instead of me looking at your back. Zahu smiled and walked forward. You bastard. Kona scolded with a smile. Indeed, she used to go to see Zahu. Zahu was a Pokémon doctor and would not leave very often, so Zahu would always watch her go. Now it was really her who watched Zahu go. Smiling and shaking her head, Kona turned around to deal with the matter this time. It was not that they were separated forever, but just a temporary separation. She and Zahu were already familiar with this kind of thing. The separation was just for a better reunion next time. Boss, are you really going to deduct my salary for a year? After walking away, Meow pleaded. Really? Zahu said, if I say deduct your salary, I will deduct your salary. No ambiguity. Boss, I'm doing all this for you. Meow is loyal. Meow's eyes were full of tears, like a hero who had suffered a great injustice. Loyalty? When did you use such a cultured word? Zahu asked curiously. That's because I often read your books, boss. No, this is not the point. We can't go off topic. Boss, don't treat poor Meow like this about wages, okay? Meow continued to plead. It's useless. I have always been loyal to Sister Kona's orders. Anyway, it's not my living expenses that are being deducted. Zahu said. Boss, you will be punished by God for abusing employees who are devoted to you. And you are afraid of your wife, no, or the future. Boss, you have no future. Meow said. I wanted to help you increase your year-end bonus by 20 times, but for what you said, don't even think about getting a dime from me this year. Zahu said. Boss. Meow rushed over, tears welling up in her eyes, hugging Zahu's thighs tightly. Get out of here. Zahu said arrogantly. Wait, boss, if we want to go to the vicinity of Jinhuang City, Can we go through the Jinhuang jungle and then go to a villa area of my family? I want to meet the old man and old woman who were very kind to me when I was a child. Kojiro suddenly said. No problem, it's on the way, of course you can go. But aren't you afraid of being caught by your parents? Zahu said. It's okay. The old man and the old woman are the best to me. They will definitely not tell on me. When we get there, it's like we're at my house. I'll treat you well. Eat and drink well. Kojiro said proudly. At this moment, he seemed to be protected by the light of the rich. Wow, Kojiro, you're a rich second generation. Let's be friends. Meow Meow excitedly rushed to Kojiro again. Kojiro raised his eyebrows and then did a beautiful roundhouse kick, turning Meow Meow into a meteor. Sorry, we don't know each other. Kojiro, you're stealing my lines. Zahu said. Same, boss, we are just following each other. That's right, boss, the old man and the old woman are the best to me. Can you help me brag about me more? Just say that I'm a candidate for a doctorate or something, so that the old man and the old woman will be happy. Kojiro said. Of course it's okay to lie for you to make the old man happy. Besides, saying you are a candidate for a doctorate is not a lie. In fact, you are already an excellent researcher. Many of the reports I have made over the years have been helped by you. If you were not afraid of Lumigia and your parents, I would have applied for a doctorate for you a long time ago. Zahu said. Really, boss? Then why don't you help me apply first, and then we can travel together? Zyajiro said. Okay, wait until we get to Jinhuang City, I will help you. In addition, you can actually become a Pokémon coordination trainer, which is more suitable for you. Otherwise, it would be boring to follow me all the time. Zahu said. Coordination trainer? Competition? Zyajiro showed a thoughtful expression, and before he could figure out what was going on, a crazy scratching sounded, and Meow fell from the sky and attacked Zyajiro's face with a big move. The boss hit me, and I didn't dare to fight back, because he paid me, but you, Zyajiro, dared to hit me casually. If I don't beat you up, I don't know who has a higher status. I'm afraid of you. If I don't beat you up, you won't know who is human, and who is Pokémon. How can Kojiro be easily provoked? He rolled up his sleeves and started fighting decisively. Zahu looked at the two guys with disdain and then quickly kept a distance from them. I don't know these two guys. Chapter 46 New teammate Monini. Grandpa, old lady, here I come. Standing at the door of the luxurious villa, Kojiro shouted excitedly. The voice of Master Kojiro. Inside the villa, a kind and amiable old couple came out expectantly. Seeing that it was indeed Kojiro, they immediately showed an excited expression and said, "It is indeed Master Kojiro, you are here." "Yes, Grandpa, old lady, here I come." Kojiro walked towards the old couple excitedly. Mayomio looked at Kojiro's enthusiasm and looked at Zahu with a strange face and said, "Boss, what's wrong with Kojiro? I remember that he was not so excited when he saw his parents." "Nonsense. He was not excited when he saw his parents, but full of fear. As for why I like to come here so much, it's because someone loves freedom by nature, but has been educated by 23 tutors since childhood. Even when eating, there are professional aristocratic teachers who teach how to hold a spoon. This is the only place where someone can relax during the summer vacation without any constraints," Zahu said. "With so many tutors, that means you are very rich. If Meow Meow had so much money, you would never run away." Meow Meow said. "Haha. I want you to marry a cat boss as a prerequisite for inheritance. I want to see if you can escape," Zahu said disdainfully. "I would never marry a cat boss, even if I kill you." When Meow Meow heard the 3 words cat boss, he immediately shook his head like a rattle. Zahu was amused and heard that he was asked about himself. He stepped forward and said, "Hello, both of you. I'm Zahu, a friend of Kojiro. It's Dr. Zahu. We all watch the news. You are the youngest doctor in the Alliance. You took Master Kojiro to your side to teach him and helped him apply for a doctorate. We want to thank you very much," the old man said sincerely. "Yes, we also want to thank you on behalf of the masters and wives." The old woman bowed sincerely. Monini, a crisp voice sounded, and a magical monster named Monini appeared from nowhere, imitating the old man and the old woman, to bend down and bow together. The three people moved in unison, which made Zahu extremely embarrassed. He hurriedly said, "Get up, get up. In fact, Zyajiro has helped me a lot over the years. What he has learned is what he deserves. Old man, old woman, the boss and I are like brothers. You don't have to be like this. Get up." Zyajiro helped Zahu to help the two people up. As for Monini, she stood up automatically regardless of what others did. "Master Zyajiro, it's great to know such a good friend." If the master and the lady knew that Master Zyajiro is so promising now, they would definitely be very happy. The old man sighed. "My parents? You didn't tell them about my coming here?" Zyajiro said with his eyes wide open. "No, the master and the lady went on a luxury cruise to travel abroad." The old woman said. "Oh, that's good." Kojiro breathed a sigh of relief. Zahu had a strange expression on his face when he heard this. This answer also appeared in the animation. At that time, it was said that there was no problem, but now, if he remembered correctly, Kojiro's parents pretended to be dead in the animation in order to trick Kojiro back home to marry Rumigia, so they should be at home at this time. However, thinking about the old man and the old woman in the animation, who knew that Kojiro was a member of the rocket team, but deliberately pretended to be stupid and pretended not to know Kojiro's identity, cooperating with Kojiro to hide it from them, Zahu had a vague guess in his heart. In the animation, did these two people also lie deliberately to coax Kojiro? Monini Zahu pretended to be a thinker. The Pokémon Monini raised by the old man looked at Zahu curiously and then imitated Zahu's appearance and stretched out his hand to pretend to think, but with the cute appearance, there was no feeling of worry and thinking, but it was even cuter. Zahu noticed this very quickly, tilting his head to look at this Monini, a cute and adorable pet. In the late stage of the Super Generation, it replaced Fenglingling as Kojiro's new mascot. Its special move is imitation, and its hobby is also imitation, the kind that imitates at any time and anywhere. It's strange to say that after the general Monini learns to imitate special moves, it will evolve into a Sucker Golem, but this one didn't. I don't know if it's because Sucker Golem is too ugly and not cute at all, but talking about this evolutionary chain is strange enough. Generally, Pokémon first discover the initial form, and then have an evolutionary form, and some even add new evolutions. For example, in the Kanto region, many people think that Electabuzz and Metal Tyrannosaurus are the final evolutions of Electabuzz and Metal Rhino, but they don't know that Sinnoh has already developed a further evolution, Electabuzz and Ultra Iron Tyrannosaurus. However, Monini is an exception. He discovered the Sucker Golem first, and then Monini. Most people in Kanto don't know that there is an evolutionary relationship between the two. Maybe it's because Monini looks too deceptive. Zahu bent down and touched Monini's little head, and Monini followed suit and pretended to touch his head, as if there was an imaginary person in front of him. Zahu was amused. No wonder Kojiro couldn't let go of it in his hands. It was so cute. "Grandpa, old lady, is this the Pokémon you raised?" Kojiro also found Monini and asked curiously. "Yes, he is Monini. Master Kojiro, don't stand outside. Come in." The old man invited. Kojiro naturally went in very naturally. This was his home. Zahu looked at the casual Kojiro and couldn't help but smile. Compared with Kojiro in the animation, who had to pretend to be an unknown president to make two old people happy, Kojiro now is undoubtedly happier. After all, Kojiro is not suitable to be a bad guy. Just like Musashi, who is nowhere to be found now. They are really bad guys among good guys and good guys among bad guys, neither good nor bad. When they do bad things, they are often confused and not ruthless. When they do good things, they have the second year consciousness of bad guys, which means we want to be big villains. At the beginning, when Zahu was watching cartoons, he thought that these two guys would definitely have a better future if they were honestly coordinating trainers than being bad guys. You know, Musashi used a bunch of mysterious Pokémon to sneak into the semifinals in the Sinnoh Grand Festival and the Triple Crown Satellite Tournament. God knows why these guys became bad guys with no future. This is the Pokémon greenhouse. The old man and his wife took Zahu and a few others into their greenhouse where they specially cultivated Pokémon. The old man and the old woman, every time they see an injured Pokémon, they will take it home and take care of it like their own children. You know, this is where I like to play most, when I was a child. Kajiro introduced Zahu and the two as they walked. Ball of string, long-tailed monster hand, Wooper, there are really a lot of Pokémon. Zahu glanced at the greenhouse and gave a fair evaluation. Yes, there are many types of Pokémon, which is much better than the single fairy type in the research institute. Meow Meow said. When did the Pokémon in our research institute only have a single fairy type? Isn't Meryl a water type? Zahu slapped Meow Meow's head in annoyance. Besides, our research institute is on the same mountain as the teachers. You run there every day. What are you talking about being lonely? This feels different. Meow Meow said. Zahu rolled his eyes, bent down, and carefully observed these Pokémon. As a Pokémon researcher for 7 years, studying Pokémon has almost become his instinct. Seeing this scene, the old man and the old woman nodded with satisfaction. The young master has found a good partner. Monini secretly ran to Kajiro's side. It felt very comfortable staying with Kajiro. I wish you all a happy National Day, Monini. Chapter 47. Set off to the battle arena. It was not comfortable to sleep in sleeping bags in the jungle for several days. After finally arriving at the luxury villa, Zahu and his team enjoyed the luxury of the nobility. The three of them were reluctant to leave. Especially Meow Meow, lying in the Pokémon greenhouse, had a comfortable life. He ate and slept every day. People who didn't know would think that he had changed from Meow Meow to Snorlax. In the end, Zahu was the first to react. He was determined to continue the journey and drag the two people to go. They had to go. He found that Meow Meow's belly had grown a circle. If they didn't go, Meow Meow would not be able to walk. At this moment, the three people said goodbye to the old man and his wife at the door of the villa. Master Zaijiro, are you leaving now? Don't stay for a few more days? The old man and the old woman said reluctantly. That's right, we still have unfinished goals to achieve. We can't stay here any longer and waste my will. And if we stay too long Lumigia will come. Zaijiro clenched his fist and said. Speaking of Miss Lumigia, she has been looking for you all these years. Are you going to meet her? The old woman said. No, you didn't tell Lumigia, I'm here. Zaijiro had a horrified expression on his face, and Monini followed suit with a horrified expression, reaching a synchronized expression. No, but Master Zaijiro, you should make a decision, as soon as possible. The old man said. I know. Zaijiro evaded, then pulled Zahu and Meow and ran away, raising a cloud of dust, and only a voice floated from afar. Grandpa, old woman, goodbye. The old man shook his head helplessly and relievedly. I remember that Master Zaijiro was very weak before, but I didn't expect that he is so healthy now after going out. However, Master Zaijiro is still as gentle as before. That's enough. The old woman said. Yes, Master Kajiro will definitely live the way he wants to live. The old man nodded and said, Monini, let's go back together. After the voice fell, the old man did not hear the familiar voice of Monini. He turned his head curiously and said, where is Monini? It seems that, after separating from Master Kajiro, he disappeared. The old woman also asked in confusion. Zahu's trio said goodbye to the old man and his wife and headed towards the battle arena. They secretly calculated the time and estimated that it would only take 2 or 3 days to get there. By then, they could have a Pokémon battle and take down another symbol. However, the result was as expected by Zahu. Meow, who had eaten too much, could not walk for a while. Then Zahu and the other 3 stopped by a river and made a fire to cook as usual. Although the food cooked by the old man and the old woman is also delicious, the boss's food is still the best. I haven't eaten it for several days. It's so delicious. Meow. Meow smelled the fragrance and couldn't help but praise it. Monini, as soon as the meowing sound fell, a cute little puppet jumped out and imitated the meowing expression of admiration and desire. Monini? Why are you here? Zaijiro, who was making Pokémon food, was surprised to see Monini. Monini was happy to see Zaijiro and threw herself into Zaijiro's arms, rubbing her little head against Zaijiro's chest, calling Monini. Zaijiro was stunned at first, but then he was overwhelmed by Monini's cuteness and teased Monini with all his heart. Zahu saw it and said with a smile, Zaijiro, this Monini must like you very much, so it will take the initiative to follow you. In this case, I have to congratulate you for having the third Pokémon. Is that so, Monini? Do you want to follow me? Zyajiro said excitedly. Monini shouted excitedly, patted a Pokéball on Zyajiro's waist, and went in directly. Sure enough, we will have another companion in our team. Zahu said. It's more fun when there are more Pokémon. I will make the food for Pokémon the same as before, and there will be absolutely no mistakes. Kajiro patted his chest and promised. It's okay as long as you are sure, but Kajiro, when will you capture a Pokémon properly? I gave you Pidgeot, and Squirtle was bought wholesale because everyone left. In the end, Monini came up by herself, but you didn't capture any of them normally. Zahu smiled mischievously. Is that so? It doesn't matter. It's good to capture Pokémon anyway, no matter what method. Come out, Monini. Kajiro released Monini without caring, and Monini seemed to know that she could continue to travel with Kajiro. She waved her hands excitedly, and a strange light emanated from her body. Then Kajiro followed and shook, and then Meowth, Zahu, Ninetales, and Togekiss all shook. What's going on? Meow. Meowth wants to eat. Meowth cried in surprise. It should be Monina's special move to express that he is very happy. Kajiro swayed with Monina's rhythm without any displeasure, but on the contrary, he was very happy. It's the swing dance. Zahu said the name of this special move with a smile. The swing dance is a chaotic special move which makes the surrounding Pokémon and people swing with the rhythm of the user. If the user wants to attack, the Pokémon will be thrown into chaos. If she doesn't want to attack, it is pure, making everyone swing with her, full of cuteness, and conveying her own excitement. Because of this, Zahu's several Pokémon who have the ability to resist this special move all gave up resistance. Except for the sleeping Snorlax, the rest were willing to swing, using this method to welcome new companions. I thought it turned out to be this special move. It's really fun. Let's dance together. Kajiro took the initiative to swing, twisting like a long noodle. I tell you, I won the championship of a dance competition when I was in elementary school, but I never had the chance to show it. Seeing the crazy excited Kajiro, Zahu rolled his eyes wildly. Damn it, with your twisting posture, how can you tell that you are dancing? Seeing that her master was twisting more happily than herself, Monini immediately increased the frequency and kept the same rhythm with Kajiro, which made Zahu and Mio suffer. The group of people shook for an unknown period of time before they regained their freedom. Zahu breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Monini with a helpless expression. This Monini was not very old and probably still had the mentality of a child, so these Pokémon were willing to spoil her and he couldn't do anything about her, so he had to let it go in the end. However, with the addition of a little cutie in the team, life was undoubtedly happier. Just like that, everyone walked to the front of the battle arena together, and as expected, they met the fat man Yashida. Chapter 48 Battle Arena. Young man, you are finally here. Yashida looked at Zahu and said, don't tell me you have been waiting for me. Also, do you have superpowers to teleport? According to my investigation, it seems that every time a challenger challenges a battle facility, you will automatically appear like a miracle. Zahu looked at Yashida seriously. This is really not a joke. You should know that in this world, you can teleport, and you don't need to have superpowers. You just need to raise an Alakazam. This is not the point. The point is that the opponent you challenge this time is not weak. The hot-blooded Huangwaxiang specializes in fighting Pokémon, and he is very yearning for RC of the Azure Gym and Tengshu of the fighting gym. Yashida said. Hot-blooded fighting? It's something that men basically like. It's a pity that I don't have any fighting Pokémon, so I can only play attribute restraint. Zahu shook his head with some distress. In normal battles, isn't it attribute restraint? Can you still win in a fight against the attributes? Yashida said. Reverse attribute fighting? Zahu's expression was subtle, but he was thinking of a certain reverse attribute master, a Snorlax, who defeated the fighting type Chairman Super King in a 1-on-2 battle. Let me introduce you. Yashida smiled and led Zahu to the battle arena, and met the trainer of the battle arena, Huangwaxiang. With short yellow hair, a black training suit, and a passionate temperament that almost overflowed. how to say it, he should still be an apprentice who has just started, young and passionate, but in fact, the person in front of him is a teacher of a fighting dojo. Challenger, it's rare for someone to challenge you, come on the roulette. Huang Guaxiang said heroically. Zhu looked at the big roulette that was lifted up and felt a little interesting. Huang Guaxiang's fighting method of the fighting facility is different from that of other dojos. Her duel method is randomly determined. From 1 to 3 points on the roulette, the number of Pokémon will compete. However, if Zhu remembered correctly, there were only 2 Pokémon that Huang Guaxiang was strong against, 1 Cherrim and 1 Superpower. If it was a 3-on-3 match, how would Huang Guaxiang fight? Beat 2 and give 1 away. Zhu looked at the roulette wheel, secretly looking forward to a 3-on-3 match, to see the excitement. Unfortunately, his expectation seemed to be useless. The roulette wheel stopped, and the final result was 1-on-1. 1-on-1, I like it. Challenger, come with me, and enjoy the ultimate thrill of battle. Huang Guaxiang raised his hands, and made an infinitely passionate gesture, then walked to the battlefield, and released his own Pokémon, Cherrim. It really is this fighting Pokémon. I'm sorry, my Pokémon is Togekiss. Zhu threw out his own Pokémon and said, Togekiss, a flying Pokémon, want to use it to restrain my fighting type? If so, then you think too simply. My Cherrim and I can defeat everything with perseverance. Huang Guaxiang said with a passionate face. Cherrim, go ahead, let him know the power of our fighting type. Air Fist. A ball of white light condensed on Cherrim's right fist, and he jumped up swiftly and hit Togekiss. Togekiss, Air Slash. Zhu said lightly. Perseverance and passion are indeed very useful in battles. For example, Zyoz's Bug Swallow is a typical example. It can withstand Pikachu's 100,000 volts. It's simply outrageous. But if it's 4 times resistance, it seems that even Zyozzy, the master of reverse attributes, has never succeeded under the effect of the halo. Do you really want to try? Togekiss spun beautifully in the sky, its wings vibrated, and 2 air blades burst down, and hit Cherrim's chest accurately, causing his right fist to fall heavily to the ground before hitting. Pockis, dive, steel wings. Zhu's voice sounded again. Silver white light appeared on the wings of Pockis, and it dived down from a high altitude, heading straight for Cherrim. Cherrim, don't panic, show your courage, and hold on. Huang Guaxiang shouted, making the standard fighting posture of their dojo. Cherrim heard the encouragement of his master, and his blood quickly surged. He was hit by Pockis' steel wings, and then he turned over in the air and hit Pockis' chest with a Kai punch. However, Pockis did not show a particularly obvious expression of pain. When he heard Zhu's command of Magic Flash, he opened his mouth and burst out a colorful light, which hit Cherrim's head, and Cherrim fell to the ground again. Cherrim, are you okay? Show your courage and stand up. Huang Guaxiang shouted. There was a faint flicker of fire in Cherrim's eyes, and he burst out his own courage, and stood up again firmly. Although he stood up, the tired expression on his face could be seen by everyone. Miss Huang Guaxiang, do you really want to fight? Although I don't want to say it, a fighting type is basically useless when it comes to my Togekiss. Zhu said. He felt that he was easy to bully. Waste? What do you mean? Even if it's a flying type, a fighting type can still cause damage. Huang Guaxiang said. You know that flying types are very resistant to fighting type attacks, but do you know that fairy types also have resistance? So with 4 times resistance, only 1/4 of the power of your attack can hit Togekiss, and your Cherrim level is lower than my Togekiss, so the only chance you can win is to hope that I, as a trainer, am a moron. Zhu said. Fairy type? What attribute is this? Is there such an attribute? Huang Guaxiang asked in confusion. Huang Guaxiang, let me tell you. The challenger in front of you is not only a Pokémon trainer, but also a Pokémon doctor. He has also researched a new attribute of Pokémon, the fairy type. It resists and restrains the fighting type. Yashida said helplessly. As an expert in the fighting type, it's really embarrassing for him not to research the attribute that resists the fighting type. Is that so? But no matter what, as long as you have perseverance, you can win. Huang Guaxiang said. Perseverance can win, Miss Huang Guaxiang. You are really like my brother. Passion defeats everything, but if passion can win, attribute restraint doesn't need to exist. Togekiss, turn around and attack, solve it, Zahu said. Togekiss flashed quickly, and then hit the already exhausted Cherrim with one blow, solving the problem perfectly. Huangwaxiang's passionate expression froze in embarrassment, and he reluctantly retracted Cherrim and said, I lost. You are very powerful. This is the proof of defeating me, and the symbol of perseverance. Okay, actually I also won unfairly. If I capture a fighting type Pokémon in the future, I will come here again to compete with you. Also, it's better to let Cherrim learn more other tricks. Although your Kihikwan is powerful, it is easy to be restrained by pure fighting type. Moreover, I feel that your personality is very similar to my brother. My brother will also come to challenge the battle frontier in the future. I will need your guidance at that time, Zahu said. Your brother, I have already lost to you once, and I can't lose to you again. Let's see how I beat him then. Huangwaxiang clenched his fist and said passionately, okay, I hope you win. Zahu shrugged, not realizing that he had pitted his brother invisibly. This also perfectly led to the fact that, when Zaozi challenged the battle frontier in the future, the first sentence of each battle leader was you are Zahu's younger brother, right? The second sentence was I will not lose to a pair of brothers in a row, and then there was no more. I don't know how much the difficulty of Zaoz's challenge increased. Every battle was hard, and he was almost beaten. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49, Battle Against the Dome. We are about to go to the Battle Dome. Boy, are you ready? Hills, the battle leader of the Battle Dome, is an incredible trainer and a superstar. Yashida drove Zahu to the Battle Dome for free and exchanged ideas. Yes, a gorgeous star. It's a pity that he is not in the Kalos area, otherwise he could participate in the exhibition match, Zahu said. Because the battle arena and the Battle Dome are very close, Zahu and Yashida took a car directly to the Battle Dome. Boss, there are a group of reporters in front. Are they going to interview us? Meow Meow looked ahead with sharp eyes and suddenly said excitedly, reporters? Zahu looked at the group of reporters in front of him who were waiting eagerly with microphones in hand and was immediately startled. When he got off the car, he grabbed Kajiro without thinking, put him in front of him and said, the challenger for the dome battle, Dr. Zahu, is here, right here. Drive Zahu is here? The challenger Zahu? Why does he look a little different from the photo? It is rumored that Dr. Zahu is not photogenic, and there is a big discrepancy between him and the photo. No matter, the person who came in at this time couldn't be anyone else. It must be Dr. Zahu. Drive Zahu, do you have any ideas about challenging Mr. Hills? Drive Zahu, do you know anything about the superstar Dr. Zahu? An endless stream of questions came one after another. Kajiro, who was temporarily pulled over by Zahu to take the blame, was at a loss at first, but then he quickly reacted, lifted the short hair by his ears, showed a confident and charming smile and said, hello everyone, I'm Zahu from Pallet Town. I'm Meow Meow's Meow Meow, Boss Zahu's agent. Meow Meow also jumped out. How could he be forgotten when joining in the fun? Then what was the motivation for you to challenge the battle frontier? Please tell us, what type of Pokémon are you best at using? The reporters continued to ask, ready to take notes at any time. This question is very private. I won't tell it to ordinary people, but since you ask it sincerely. Kajiro had a serious expression on his face, but he was only halfway through his words, and before he could finish his words, Meow Meow jumped out and said, then I will be merciful and tell you. To prevent the world from being destroyed. Kajiro glared at Meow Meow. This is my line. To protect world peace. Meow Meow glared back not to be outdone, and the line was also stolen. The challenge of implementing love and truth. Kajiro's eyes were even more murderous. This line was written by me. A cute and charming challenger. Meow Meow spoke at a fast pace and told Kajiro with his eyes that he would never back down. Zahu. Kajiro began to grit his teeth. Meow 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 is fearless. We are travelers traveling through the world. White hole. A white tomorrow is waiting for us. Monini finally. Monini jumped out from nowhere and responded extremely cooperatively, giving a perfect summary of this opening statement. Zahu's expression. Oh, can anyone tell me, when did you design such a set of lines without telling me, when we are together every day? In addition, does this involve the law of causality? I obviously broke up the trio. Why did you still say such a thing? Your assistant seems to be very suitable to play a star. Yashida said. He has always been very suitable, but he just didn't have the opportunity to perform. Now the opportunity has fallen from the sky, so he will naturally cooperate very well. Zahu said helplessly. But, is it really good for you not to accept the interview and let your assistant do it? Yashida said. What's wrong with it? If I accept the interview, with my temper, I will definitely be unhappy, and if I'm unhappy, my answer will not be good, and the reporter will also be unhappy. As for my assistant, he will be even more unhappy, because he lost the opportunity to perform. Now I don't have to accept the interview. I'm happy. The reporter is happy to interview people, and my assistant has the opportunity to perform, and he is even happier. It's really good when everyone is good. Zahu said nonsense seriously. Okay, you have a point. You can ask your assistant to do the interview, but you have to do the challenge yourself. Hills is a very powerful master. Yashida said. The artist of ice and fire. Speaking of which, I have never used to at a time, so it's a good opportunity to try it. Otherwise, let's go in first. Zahu said. Okay. Yashida smiled and took Zahu in, and then left Meow Meow and Kajiro to deal with these reporters. Entering the battle dome, Zahu looked around and saw a full audience. It was really packed. He sighed in his heart. Those who knew would say that he was going to compete here, and those who didn't know would definitely think that it was a superstar holding a concert here. Suddenly, a huge screen in front lit up. A dark figure with a bright face emerged, and a passionate voice rang out. Finally, this man is here. This man got a doctorate from the League when he was 13 years old and discovered a new attribute, the fairy attribute. Starting from Pallet Town, full of passion and wisdom, he set off a whirlwind in the battle frontier. The challenger of perseverance, his name is Zahu. Then, under the attention of the crowd, Zahu made a brilliant appearance, and the audience around him applauded. For a while, the atmosphere was heated to the peak. However, in the face of the passion of the crowd, Zahu just waved his hand indifferently to everyone to show his presence. If these people were really cheering for him, he would be very happy, but in fact, this group of people were just looking forward to Hills' appearance next. In their eyes, he was just a supporting role. Sure enough, the screen that had just played his video immediately changed again. Pokémon battles are like flowers in the world. Artists of the gorgeous dome. People gathered in the battle hall, revel in the gorgeous tricks and clever tactics. The superstar of the dome, Hills, has arrived. As soon as the voice fell, a middle-aged man in exaggerated and gorgeous performance clothes floated down from the sky, appeared gorgeously, and shouted to the audience, "Dear beautiful audience, welcome to the battle dome." Zahu looked at Hills, who fell from the sky, and then had a weird look, and Han Shixen's famous saying emerged in his mind involuntarily. Really, the more battle leaders and gym trainers there are, the more weird ones there are. However, compared with Zahu's disgust, the audience around him screamed continuously, bursting out like thunder, which was many times stronger than Zahu's welcome ceremony just now. Zahu covered his ears silently. Damn it, he really didn't understand the aesthetics of the people in this world. Although Hills was a good person, his look and beauty, Zahu could only use ellipsis to describe his mood. Without knowing what Zahu was thinking, Hills stood in front of Zahu and said, "Zahu, I hope you can give a wonderful performance today that lives up to the symbol of battle. Of course, I also want to experience Mr. Hills' tactics of ice and fire." Zahu said, "It seems that the doctor has studied me, but that is not tactics, but art. These are the Pokémon I sent out this time, Flame Sprinter, Windy Dog, and the Dominator of Water and Earth, Swampert." Hills said, "Flame Sprinter, the Dominator of Water and Earth. Sure enough, these are the gorgeous names that superstars would give. Then I will send out a pair of childhood sweethearts, Snorlax and Fairy." Zahu threw out two Pokeballs at the same time. Two red lights emerged, and two Pokémon, one large and one small, appeared in front of everyone. With the eyes of thousands of people focused, Snorlax yawned lazily, not caring at all, while Fairy was a little shy, and hid behind Snorlax uncomfortably. "Your Pokémon seems a little shy," Hills said. "Yes, it's the first time I've seen such a big scene, so I came here to boost her courage," Zahu said. "Well, as the challenger, you go first," Hills said. As the leader of the battle, he would be tolerant and preferential to the challenger. Then 3 updates. The collection has exceeded 5,000. By the way, you guys are so awesome. I think the recommendation will also exceed 1,000. If this continues, I will have to update 3 times a day. Chapter 50. Tactical Victory. Then I won't be polite. Snorlax, use Freeze Beam on Swampert. Hills was polite. Zahu didn't shirk, and directly issued the attack order. Snorlax roared with full energy, and an ice blow light burst out of his mouth, and an ice column went straight to Swampert. Wind Speed, use Jet Flame. Wind Speed leaped and jumped in front of Swampert, and sprayed a strong flame column, to block Snorlax's Freeze Beam. Fairy Elf, seize the opportunity, Magic Flash. The attack was frustrated. Zahu's face remained unchanged, and he continued to issue orders. If Hills couldn't even block this level of attack, he would not be worthy of being the leader of the battle. After receiving the order, Fairy Elf immediately concealed her shyness, and fought with all her heart. A colorful glow burst out of her body, and went straight to Wind Speed. Swampert, use Hold. Hills' voice was issued at the same time. Although he likes gorgeousness, his art is also fighting. Swampert leaped again, and a layer of light yellow light appeared on its body, blocking all the attacks of Snorlax and Sylph. Arcane attacks. Swampert defends. Very good cooperation. No wonder it is the battle leader. But as an artist, you should be more artistic. Let me see. More wonderful art. Okay. Zahu nodded. The challenger's request should not be rejected by the battle leader. Arcane Super Speed. Hills said. Arcane ran quickly, turned into a flash of lightning, and hit Sylph before it could react. Zahu's face changed. It is worthy of having a race value of 555, and being called a legendary Pokémon in the illustrated book. Super Speed is so fast that Sylph can't dodge, but this is not necessarily a bad thing. Looking at the distance between Arcane and Swampert, Zahu's eyes flashed with a gleam of light. Snorlax uses Brute Force on Arcane. Snorlax's right arm flashed white light, and he violently attacked Arcane with force. Swampert, use Exploding Punch to block it. Swampert appeared in front of Windy, as if it had teleported, and then caught Snorlax's Iron Fist head-on, and 2 white lights intersected. A ball of flame burst out from Snorlax's narrowed eyes, and then he punched Swampert head-on, and then his whole body was between Swampert and Windy, and then he beat Swampert wildly, while Fairy jumped up, and flashed magic at Windy. In an instant, the offense and defense changed positions, and Zahu's 2 Pokémon separated Hills' 2 Pokémon respectively, interrupting the cooperation. You are worthy of being a doctor of academics. You know that the cooperation between the 2 Pokémon is not as good as Windy and Swampert, and you turn the doubles into a singles. Hills praised. No, if it's a doubles cooperation, I don't think I'm much worse than you, but fighting alone can solve it faster. Snorlax, if you beat this Swampert, I will give you the most delicious energy cubes, and I won't let you fight for a month. Zahu said. Kirby hearing that he could eat well and not fight, Snorlax immediately roared excitedly, and then punched Swampert with his left and right punches, fully demonstrating the power of a foodie. Your strength? It's indeed amazing, but it's impossible to defeat me like this. Next, let me show you my most proud performance art. Hills said excitedly. Wind Speed, use Big Word Explosion. A cloud of smoke burst out of Wind Speed, and then 5 dazzling orange-red flames burst out from Wind Speed one after another, rushing in 5 directions. Fairy Elf was startled, and subconsciously hid aside. What a cool way. I have never seen this kind of Big Word Explosion. Isn't Big Word Explosion always sprayed out of the mouth? Why is this one played like this? Like 5 jets of flame sprayed out. Kajiro was surprised, thinking to himself, if his own Growlithe can also be played like this, it would be great. This is just the beginning. You will see. Hills is in charge of the symbol of tactics. His tactics are very powerful. Yashida said confidently. Swampert, use water wave. As if to verify Yashida's words, Hill's order was issued again. Swampert spit out a water wave from his mouth. The water vapor on the field gathered rapidly and finally turned into spiral stripes, engulfing Snorlax and Sylph. After the big explosion of Windy Dog, they did not cancel each other out. Instead, they merged perfectly, attacking Snorlax and Sylph like a water and fire tornado. Zahoo, did you see it clearly? This is my favorite art, the fusion of water and fire. Hills said proudly. Sure enough, gorgeous and practical. This is your style, Mr. Hills. But Mr. Hills, do you know? Although I believe in the ability of Pokémon, I also like data. So before every battle, I collect information. You like the characteristics of water and fire. I really know too well, so it's okay if you don't use it. If you use it, it means your failure. Zahoo said confidently. Failed? Then let me see your ability. Swampert uses Water Wave, and Windy Dog uses Big Blast. Hills said. Fairy Elf, use Sunny Day. Fairy Elf stood on Snorlax's head and grabbed Snorlax's ears with 4 small claws to stabilize her body. Then a burst of light emanated from her body, and the light in the sky suddenly increased. Then the power of Windy Dog's Big Blast suddenly increased, directly destroying Swampert's Water Wave. The perfect fusion of water and fire is indeed both beautiful and practical, but this kind of high difficulty requires a lot of considerations in operation, and the most important one is the balance of the power of the ultimate move. Sunny Day can enhance the power of the fire type ultimate move, so it can't be fused. Zahoo said. It's really amazing, but even so, the battle is not over yet. The magic of doubles is more than that. Hills said. No, when Sunny Day is used, the battle is actually over. Mr. Hills, you forgot that Sunny Day has another effect. Snorlax, Sunshine Flame. Zahoo said. Snorlax opened his mouth, and a strong light source condensed, and then burst out instantly, and hit Swampert accurately. In an instant, Swampert fell heavily, and turned into a circle of eyes. Sunny Day, the second effect, the sunlight flame condensed faster, without a round of charging, and fired directly. Awesome. This is the first time I've seen someone crack Hills' water and fire fusion trick like this. As expected of a doctor who specializes in data research, the tactics are first class. Yashida said. That's my boss, and sunlight flame restrained Swampert 4 times, so we won again. Meow. Meow Meow said excitedly. That's right. Swampert has the dual attributes of water and ground. Although it can resist electric, the result is that it will be restrained 4 times when facing grass skills. Even Leaf Blade may be hit and lose its combat ability, not to mention the grass type's ultimate move Sunlight Flame. Yashida said. So next, it's my time. Mr. Hills, are you sure you want to continue fighting 1 against 2? Zahoo said. It's not impossible. Your 2 Pokémon have been trapped in the water and fire for a long time, and both are injured. The sunny weather is the most suitable for fire attacks. Windy Dog uses Big Word Explosion. Hills said, and Windy Dog's 5 fire pillars burst out again. Snorlax, Fire Fist. Snorlax's right fist flashed with fire, without any sign of escape, but rushed forward with his right hand, to face the fire pillar, and the last punch hit Windy Dog's body. Finally, Destruction Deathlight. Snorlax's eyes burst out with a strong fighting spirit, and then a pillar of light burst out from his mouth, like a collapse of the sky, and cracking of the earth, and hit Windy Dog, killing it again. My Snorlax has eaten a lot, since he was a child, so he has developed a superhuman defense. I can proudly tell you that among all the Pokémon I have met, including the Champion King, he is the best in terms of defense alone. In addition, he has the characteristic of thick fat, which reduces fire attacks by half. Zahoo said. Perfect tactics. I'm convinced of my defeat, young man. I look forward to your better performance. Hills took back the 2 Pokémon, walked off the stage, and gave the symbol of tactics to Zahoo. Thank you. Zahoo took the symbol of tactics, and Sylph and Snorlax both smiled with joy. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.